Chapter 35. Xia Pingan opened his eyes once again and found himself lying in a deep patch of grass. The blue sky above his head was a bit dazzling, and the clouds were so white that they seemed to have been bleached. Beside him, there were half a man tall bristlegrass, and he was holding one in his mouth. Xia Pingan immediately sat up and looked at himself. He was wearing animal skin, with bone chains on his wrists and neck, and a sharpened stone sickle hanging on his waist. This was a small hillside near the river. Not far away there was a large tribe and houses, which had been built on the ground with mud, wood and reed strips. Smoke rose in spirals from the chimneys of the tribe. There was also a muddy pit in the middle of the tribe. Numerous young and strong men were stepping on the mud in the pit, thinning the mud in the pit and mixing it with the dried grass and leaves. Some people went back and forth between the tribe and the lakeside, using bamboo tubes to carry water from the lakeside and pour it into the muddy pit. There were also some people who took out the mud from the mud pit and put it on the open space beside them. They used wooden planks to pat the mud into roughly square shapes and let it dry under the sun. There were many dried mud cubes on the ground. Those dried mud cubes were taken to a place not far away and piled up with the mud cubes and reed strips to build simple new houses. Was this the era of Shinong clan? The ancients had improved their house-building skills a lot. Xia Pingan looked at the large tribe in the distance. Judging from the number of houses, this tribe had a large population, at least tens of thousands of people. The houses of the tribe had been moved from the trees to the ground. Additionally, the main material of the houses had become mud. The grass and stems in the mud acted as steel bars in the concrete. After being dried, the mud bricks would no longer be loose. Some of the people in the tribe were wearing clothes wrapped with animal skin, while others were wearing clothes woven with grass and leaves. Judging from the smoke rising from the chimney, it seemed that the fire seed had been completely popularized, and the productivity had been further released. As for those houses built with reed poles and mud bricks, there were big and small ones. Those houses of different sizes also had different things to dry outside. This indicated that there were rich and poor families in a tribe. The division of labor in some primitive societies may have already appeared. For example, some people were better at chopping firewood with stone axes and knives, some were better at hunting, some were good at making leather, some were good at making stone tools, some were good at picking fruits or weaving clothes. In some open places in the tribe, some wild fruits and many animal skins and bones were being dried under the sun. The breeze from the direction of the tribe carried the smell of those animal skins and bones. The smell of those animal skins and bones being dried under the sun was not pleasant, but in this age, such a smell was the smell of a prosperous and powerful tribe. The men and women were busy with their own work, and a group of children were chasing some elk that had been reared in the tribe. There were no farmlands around the tribe, but there were large areas of grasslands and woodlands by the river and the surrounding slopes and grasslands. There were many plants in those grasslands and woodland. Compared to the Swearin and Cho clan experiences, the productivity of this tribe had obviously improved a lot, and the population of the tribe had also increased. Looking at the scene in front of him, Xia Pingan's mind flashed with a passage from Zhuangzi's robber chapter. In the era of Shinong, the people know his mother, but they don't know his father. Coexisting with the deer, Xia Pingan then took out the stone sickle at his waist and looked at it. This stone sickle was more than 20 centimeters long and had been sharpened to a very sharp point. In this era, to be able to wear a stone sickle at his waist, this stone sickle should be worth a lot. The degree of flashiness was no less than when young people in the future held a mobile phone in their hand. Just when Xia Pingan was looking into the distance, a young girl with slightly tanned skin wearing a tiger skin skirt had already walked up the hillside aggressively towards Xia Pingan. "Adi, you're hiding here again." That young girl came in front of Xia Pingan. Before Xia Pingan could figure out her identity, she had already grabbed Xia Pingan's ear with one hand on her waist and started to lecture him. "I've been looking for you for so long to eat. Elder brother and uncle have already led people to hunt. You're the only one who's been wandering around all day, looking at the grass and fish. You said the day before yesterday that you could eat these weeds. From now on, I'll cut some weeds to feed you. Let's see if you're full or not." The weeds that the young girl was talking about were the green foxtails around Ping, and don't underestimate these green foxtails. These green foxtails were the ancestors of millet. Millets were called chestnuts in ancient times. The earliest chestnuts were selected from these green foxtails and gradually cultivated. Large amounts of chestnut rice were found in the Peilagang culture site and the Donghu forest site. The latter discovery pushed back the history of chestnut rice cultivation to about 10,000 years ago. Hearing this young girl's words, Xia Pingan knew that the Shennong clan was indeed a god. The earliest millets should have been selected and cultivated by the Shennong clan from the weed. "Sister, be gentle, be gentle. You'll know in the future that these weeds can really eat." Xia Pingan cried out in pain and hurriedly stood up. After fusing with the realm pearl twice in a row, Xia Pingan had become more and more familiar with the role-playing game in the realm pearl. "If this weed can fill my stomach, I'll listen to whatever you say in the future," the girl said fiercely. She didn't believe Xia Pingan's words at all. "If it can't, then listen to me and find something to do. Although Ama is the head of the clan, you can't just wander around all day and wander around." Sure enough, Xia Pingan had previously guessed that the Shennong clan had so much time to invent and research herbs. There was a high probability that they had already broken away from heavy physical labor and didn't have an urgent need to survive. Therefore, they had the time and energy to research things that others couldn't. Now it seemed that it was indeed so. The Shennong clan's mother was the female clan leader of this clan, and the Shennong clan should be one of the earliest ancient aristocrats. In a matriarchal society, the status of the women in the tribe was relatively high. The clan leader of the tribe was always a woman. For example, his fierce sister might inherit the position of clan leader in the future. According to some historical records, the Shennong clan might be the key figure in the transition from a matriarchal society to a patrilineal society in ancient China due to their outstanding contributions. Some historical records said that the Shennong clan had 17 generations, and the last Shennong clan was the Yan Emperor. Some historical records also said that the Yan Emperor was from the Zhuxiang clan and was the most important minister of Fuxi. Fuxi abdicated to the Yan Emperor, which was why the Yan Emperor established the prosperity of the world. These historical legends and information flashed through Xia Pingan's mind. At this time, it was not the time for archaeology research, but the task to complete. Seeing that the young girl's hand that was pulling his ear did not loosen, Xia Pingan hurriedly said, "I've already thought of what to do, and I'm about to tell Mother." "Really?" The hand that was pulling Xia Pingan's ear suddenly loosened. The young girl asked curiously, "What do you want to do?" "Ha, it's a secret. You'll know it later. What I'm going to do will definitely be praised by everyone in the tribe." The young girl looked at Xia Pingan suspiciously. Xia Pingan did not explain, and just smiled. "Okay, then I'll see how you explain it to Mother when you go back." The young girl did not believe him at all, but her hand that was pulling Xia Pingan's ear loosened. After that, Xia Pingan rubbed his ear and followed the young girl back to the tribe. When he saw the tribe before, he already knew what he had to do first. The Shennong clan had made a lot of contributions in their lifetime. He had just arrived here, and to shoulder the historical mission of the Shennong clan, he had to first establish his prestige in the tribe. Teaching people how to grow grains, identify herbs, raise silkworms, and weave cloth was not something that could be achieved in a few days. However, there was one thing that was easy to do, and if he did it well, he could rapidly establish his prestige in the entire tribe. What's more, it was very simple. When they passed by those houses in the tribe, Xia Pingan carefully observed the things that were hung outside the houses. Looking at the quantity and types of supplies that different families had, he became more and more certain. Chapter 36. In the center of the tribe, in the courtyard surrounded by the largest reed and mud, Xia Pingan met his mother, the head of the tribe, and also had his first meal since he came to this world. The mother of the Shinnon clan was a kind, but not dignified woman. Her eyes were kind and wise, and she sat straight at home. The scepter in her hand and the strong female guards beside her would never let anyone look down on her. When Xia Pingan spoke out his thoughts, everyone in the room stared at him with their eyes wide open in disbelief. Mutual exchange? What is that? Taking out everyone's things for others to take? How can people be willing to do that? The head of the Shinnon clan looked at Xia Pingan as she pondered. After all, what Xia Pingan just said was something that no one had ever thought of before, and it took them a little effort to understand it. Mother, the purpose of trading is to let people in our tribe exchange things with each other. For example, I hunted a wild boar today. That wild boar meat can't be eaten by our family, and it will spoil after a long time. If I want a stone knife and some firewood, I can take out the extra wild boar meat and exchange it with others for what I want. If someone wants to eat meat with more firewood, or a stonemason wants to eat meat with a polished stone knife, they can exchange their own things with me for the wild boar. Then who will exchange with you? Do you want to take the wild boar and ask them one by one? The elder sister of the Shinnon clan asked. It was the first time for everyone to hear about such a thing that had never appeared before, and it was hard for them to understand. We don't need to ask them one by one. We just need to find a place in the tribe and gather everyone who wants to exchange something. Let them go there and see how they want to exchange their own things for other people's things. How much they want to exchange and how little they want to exchange will be discussed by both parties. As long as both parties agree to the exchange, I think everyone will be willing. After Xia Pingan's detailed explanation, the matriarch quickly understood. The matriarch's eyes brightened as she looked at Xia Pingan with a gratified look. She was quite moved by Xia Pingan's suggestion. More importantly, Xia Pingan's suggestion today made the matriarch understand that her son had finally grown up and could share the burden of the tribe and her. I'll leave the matter of organizing the tribal market to you. You can try. I'll arrange 2 more people to help you and listen to your orders. How many days will it take to finish the tribal market? It can be done in 3 days. Xia Pingan said confidently. All right, let's see the results in 3 days. After saying that, the female clan head turned around and whispered something to her bodyguards. Only after a short while, the female clan head's bodyguards had brought 2 helpers to Xia Pingan and told them to follow Xia Pingan's orders these days. Xia Pingan excitedly left the house with his 2 helpers. But on the same night, almost everyone in the tribe heard that in a few days there would be a fair in the tribe, where everyone could exchange things. What was a fair? What was a mutual market? No one in the tribe knew about it, but everyone felt it was a novelty. In the next 2 days, Xia Pingan had his people constantly create public opinion in the tribe, spreading the benefits of the bazaar and how to exchange for things in the bazaar. At the same time, he had his people casually find a large open space in the tribe and set up several wooden stakes around the open space, using grass and wood ashes to encircle it. In this era, there was no entertainment in the tribe, and it was very boring. For the people in the tribe, in addition to eating and sleeping, they would hunt, pick wild fruits, chop firewood or sharpen stone knives. Even if they could take a break, they would just be in a daze and have nothing to do. Hearing that there was going to be a fair in the tribe, and that in 3 days, at noon, everyone could take their things to the fair to exchange for other people's things, the people in the tribe became excited and were full of curiosity and expectation about this novelty. Xia Pingan told those who wanted to exchange things to bring straw mats and their things to the fair in 3 days. When they came to the fair, they would put their straw mats on the ground and put their things on the straw mats so that they could exchange things with others. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. 3 days later, in the middle of the day, The place where Xia Pingan had prepared the market was packed with people from the tribe. Almost all of the people in the tribe came out of their nests, and all of them rushed to the market set up by Xia Pingan. Some came to exchange things, and some came to watch the fun. In the beginning, they did not know how to exchange things with others. Xia Pingan took the lead and used some meat that his brother had caught to exchange for some firewood and straw mat. The two underlings arranged by Xia Pingan also used the firewood and meat to exchange for some things. With someone taking the lead and setting an example, everyone understood that this market was a place where people could exchange their own things for other people's things. This method was really good. When everyone gathered together, they could exchange anything with each other. Soon, with Xia Pingan taking the lead, others also tried to exchange their own things for what they needed. The fair on the grassland became lively all of a sudden. Seeing the world's first fair with his own eyes, Xia Pingan sighed with emotion. The ancestors of Huaxia were pragmatic and brave to innovate. Unlike the messy sayings of later generations, which degraded the status of merchants and craftsmen to be worthless. According to some traditions, the Shennong clan, one of the three emperors, was the founding ancestor of merchants, farmer, craftsman, and doctor. They were also the patron saint of these professions. The Shennong clan led these ordinary people to create the history of Huaxia civilization. No wonder Laozi said, "When the great Tao is useless, there is benevolence and righteousness, and when wisdom comes, there is great hypocrisy." Sometimes, when there are too many experts, the black and white in this world will be reversed. Everyone in the tribe burst out with great enthusiasm for being able to exchange their own things for others. The tribal fair was a great success on the first day. Those who participated in the exchange felt that they had gained benefits and benefit. In the following month, Xia Pingan held an exchange every 5 days in the tribe. Each exchange greatly facilitated the lives of the people in the tribe. After holding 7 or 8 exchanges successfully, Xia Pingan's prestige in the tribe suddenly rose. The manpower assigned to him by his mother had increased from the initial 2 to 4. With more manpower, a lot of things were easier to handle. Xia Pingan began to lead people around the tribe to look for clay suitable for firing pottery, and they quickly found it. With clay, firing pottery was put on Xia Pingan's schedule. In this era, firing pottery was actually very simple. As long as you found the clay, even if there was no cave, you could fire it by piling a pile of firewood on the flat ground. Looking at the temperature of the pottery that was unearthed in the later generations, many of the buried pottery were fired by piling firewood on the flat ground. There was no kiln at all. Of course, Xia Pingan would not be so crude. He led people to dig a simple clay kiln that was taller than a person on the hillside. Inside the clay kiln, firewood could be piled up to fire pottery. Xia Pingan played with the clay for a whole day. He made some crudely made bowls and plates out of the clay, preparing to use them as the first batch of pottery to be fired. Then he asked people to find some firewood. Finally, Xia Pingan put the bowls and dishes he had made out of clay in the kiln, and then piled up the firewood. After burning for 2 or 3 hours, his first batch of pottery was fired, and he succeeded in one try. A few days later, when Xia Pingan took the first batch of bowl-shaped pottery he made to the exchange, the whole tribe was stirred up again. That bowl was good. It could hold water and food. It looked very expensive. In an era where there were almost no containers, the sensation brought by the first batch of pottery was beyond Xia Pingan's imagination. The way the people in the tribe looked at the clay bowls and plates made by Xia Pingan was like how modern people looked at a pile of diamonds. Many people were willing to pay a huge price in exchange for a pottery bowl. With pottery, cooking and food could be diversified, and many foods and things could be stored in a better way. Just by exchanging the first batch of pottery bowls and plates, Xia Pingan found that it only took him 1 day to become the richest man in the tribe, and his prestige went up a level. The Shennong clan started off smoothly. In less than a month, Xia Chang'an had completed 2 major events. With things, achievements, prestige, and people listening to him, it would be easy to invent and lead people to farm and open up wastelands. Chapter 37. 4 days later, in the secret chamber of the safe house, Xia Pingan opened his eyes. His eyes were still a little dazed, as if he had just woken up from a dream. He once again took a look at the summoner's secret mandala that had just been completely condensed in his sea of consciousness. That mandala, after integrating with the god's realm bead, had expanded by hundreds of times compared to before. It had evolved into an ancient tribe that occupied an area of more than 1 square kilometer. In the middle of the tribe there was a temple that looked simple and dignified. It was built with stone and huge wood. This temple, compared to the previous cave and thatched hut, showed a bit of grandeur. Outside the temple, there were 7 more granite steps. The divine fire in the temple was burning fiercely and had turned into a huge fire altar that spewed out from the ground. On the jade wall of the temple, there were more reliefs of the Shinong clan. In the sky above the temple, there was a huge caisson dome. Below the caisson was the divine fire, and above the caisson, there were golden divine light balls. Xia Pingan had gained 30 points of divine power from integrating with the god's realm bead. In addition to the previous 40 points of divine power, the golden divine light balls added up to 70 points of divine power. The reliefs of the Shinong clan depicted the Shinong clan leading countless tribal people to open up wastelands for farming, and the scene of the tribe's prosperity. Several tribal elders were full of excitement, half kneeling in front of the Shinong clan, holding the harvested rice, millet, wheat, and other crops in their hands. There were also some technicians next to them, holding all kinds of utensils in their hands, such as pottery, arrows, and spears. There were also some people holding all kinds of medicinal herbs picked from the wastelands, and some musicians playing musical instruments. Everyone was happy. Everyone surrounded the Shinong clan, like stars surrounding the moon. Among them, there was a farmer holding rice, millet, and wheat in his hands, a technician holding a clay pot in his left hand and an arrow in his right hand, and a character carrying a medicine basket with a lot of medicinal herbs in it. They were particularly vivid, as if they could walk out of the relief. When Xia Pingan touched them with his consciousness, the 3 of them seemed to be able to walk down from the jade wall tree. These should be the 3 character summoning slots that he had obtained this time. A farmer, a technician, and a pharmacist. On the other hand, the tribe outside the temple was a completely different scene. Beside the tribe, there were distant green mountains and flowing rivers. There were also people and houses that were faintly discernible like ink and wash paintings. There were thousands of families and large tracts of farmland. Xia Pingan could see that the people in the tribe were living, farming, crafting stone tools, boiling salt, making hemp, burning pottery, and gathering herbs. Everything in the secret mandala in his mind was very similar to what he saw when he left the Shinong clan. Outside the secret mandala, the black fog was still rolling, full of the unknown and mysterious. Was this the summoner's secret mandala? Xia Pingan's heart was filled with shock. For Xia Pingan, who had just become a summoner, the mystery and vastness of the summoner's world had just revealed the tip of the iceberg in the realm bead of the gods. Xia Pingan had done his best. He boiled salt for the tribe and taught the people in the tribe how to preserve meat with salt. He taught the people in the tribe how to convert hemp into cloth and use cloth to make better clothes. He made bows and arrows so that the people in the tribe could have bows and arrows. He also taught the people in the tribe how to use bamboo pipes to make blow darts for hunting. He invented the Leishi farming method and allowed the tribe to have agriculture and food production. He tasted all kinds of herbs and almost completely recited the Shinong's 100 Herbs Classic. He composed the zither and set the rhythm of the 5 notes of Gong Shang Jiao Zhu. He brewed tea with pottery, detoxified poison, and saved people. He made countless instructions and taught countless people before the world in the realm bead dissipated. He was already the most prestigious and knowledgeable person in all the tribes within a radius of thousands of miles. He had already received the great name of the Shinnon clan, and tens of thousands of tribes had submitted to him. However, even so, he was still unable to fully display the merits and contributions of the Shinnon clan. There was still a flaw. This time, the integration of the realm bead of the gods could not be called perfect. This flaw and imperfection was the calendar set by the Shinnon clan. The calendar set by the Shinnon clan was the Guizhong calendar, but the Guizhong calendar had long been lost. Even Xia Pingan could not restore the Guizhong calendar. Xia Pingan had only heard that the 12 trigrams of the Shinnon clan's Guizhong calendar were formed into a Tai Chi diagram. However, he did not know how it evolved and how it was formed and how it was used to determine the astronomical calendar. Perhaps no one in this world knew. He did not fully display the historical contributions and achievements of the Shinnon clan, one of the 3 emperors of Huaxia, in the realm bead. Therefore, the integration this time could not be called perfect. He only received 30 points of divine power. If he had perfectly integrated the realm bead of the gods, he would have received 36 points of divine power. At this moment, Xia Pingan's heart was filled with regret, awe and satisfaction. That awe was in awe of the wisdom of the ancient people of Huaxia. As for satisfaction, it was the satisfaction of a person who had been immersed in the history of Huaxia for most of his life, following the footsteps of the ancient people, standing on the shoulders of giants, and witnessing and even creating the history of Huaxia with his own eyes. As for regret, it was because, even in the realm bead, he could not see a trace of the mystery of the Guizhong calendar. This feeling was very subtle. From now on, I am a real summoner. Xia Pingan opened his eyes and muttered to himself. He was a little excited. After integrating these 3 realm beads, he could integrate other realm beads without any restrictions in the future. Xia Pingan stood up, and a series of cracking sounds came from his muscles and bones again. At this moment, this body already had a feeling of emptiness and strength completely fusing together. It was very good. He opened the safety door of the secret room, walked out of the secret room, and went to the basement of the villa. Then, he took the elevator to go up, and found that the villa was empty. Yen Duo was not in the villa, and he was the only person in the villa. Warm sunlight shone in from the window. Looking at the time, it was morning. Xia Pingan took out his phone and checked that there were more than 20 missed calls and 2 messages on his phone. There were more than 20 missed calls, and most of them were from Xia Ning. There were also 2 calls from the landlord, and the time span was 3 days. Of the 2 messages, one was sent by Xia Ning yesterday, and the other was sent by Mo Yanshao yesterday. Xia Pingan first clicked on the message sent by Xia Ning. "Brother, I called you for the past few days, but you didn't pick up. I was so worried. I called the Xianghe City Committee of Order to ask about your situation, and they said that you were on a mission. Are you okay?" Xia Pingan secretly sweated. He had been integrating the realm bead of the gods for the past few days, and he did not expect that Xia Ning would call him so many times. Looking at those messages, Xia Pingan replied to Xia Ning, "I'm fine, I'm very good. It's just that I couldn't contact you for the past few days. Don't worry, I'll go home and cook for you this weekend." A few seconds after the message was sent, Xia Ning replied instantly, "You're such an adult, and you still want your sister to worry about you? Really?" Grimace. Looking at the grimace at the back of Xia Ning's message, Xia Pingan smiled. He then looked at Mo Yanshao's message. "Give me a call after you've successfully integrated the realm bead of the gods, and I'll get a helicopter to pick you up." Xia Pingan directly dialed Mo Yanshao's number. In less than 2 seconds, the call was connected. "How is it?" Mo Yanshao asked on the other side of the phone. "The integration has been successful," Xia Pingan said. Mo Yanxiao on the other side of the phone let out a long sigh. Good, you can go back to the provincial headquarters directly. Our helicopter will arrive in an hour. Also, don't believe that bastard Yen Duo's words. Okay. After ending the call with Mo Yanxiao, Xia Pingan dialed the landlord's number. After waiting for 7 or 8 seconds, the landlord finally picked up after hearing the phone ring. Hello, Uncle Hong? I'm Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan's call to the landlord was very polite. He and Xia Ning had been living in the apartment for many years. The landlord was a kind person. He knew that the two siblings had no parents and had never increased Xia Pingan's rent. The rent had increased a few times over the years, and it was Xia Pingan who took the initiative to raise it. Xia Pingan had always been very polite to the landlord. Pingan. The landlord's gentle voice came from the other side of the phone. I called you twice 2 days ago, but I couldn't get through. I'm sorry, Uncle Hong. I had something to do a few days ago and didn't bring my phone. Oh right, I've already asked Xia Ning to transfer this month's rent to you. I've received the rent. I'm calling you not to talk about the rent, but to tell you something. I've sold the apartment that I rented to you. From this month onwards, the new owner will be collecting rent from you. Uncle Hong was still a little embarrassed over the phone. He explained to Xia Pingan, I'm getting old and I don't want to stay in the city. I want to live in the countryside for a few years and take care of my daughter's grandchildren for a few years, so I sold the apartment in the city to someone else. Uncle Hong, it's okay. You should enjoy a few years of peace and quiet. I'll contact the new owner about the rent. Thank you for taking care of us all these years, Uncle Hong. Okay, then there's nothing else. Haha, I didn't take care of much. You two siblings are fastidious and clean. You don't cause any trouble. I'm living in the countryside in Wooding. Come over if you have time. Okay. Chapter 38. Summoners were humans too. Humans couldn't avoid these trivial matters. If a summoner wanted to rent a house, they had to pay rent. Moreover, Xia Pingan wasn't a summoner yet. Xia Pingan laughed at himself. He didn't take the matter of the new landlord to heart. The new landlord could just increase the rent by a few hundred yuan. He didn't mind. After ending the call and putting down the phone, Xia Pingan went straight to the bathroom and took a bath. According to Dr. Huang, this was the last time the impurities were expelled from the body. It was equivalent to changing the meridians, washing the marrow and being reborn. In the future, after successfully fusing with other realm beads, although there would still be the impurities in the body, there wouldn't be any more impurities being expelled. After taking a bath and drying his hair, Xia Pingan changed into a set of clean clothes and walked out feeling refreshed. He saw that Yen Duo was already sitting in the living room. He probably came back while he was taking a bath. I didn't expect you to take 4 days to fuse with the God Realm bead. Yen Duo looked at Xia Pingan's complexion and laughed. Looks like you've successfully fused with it this time. And I was lucky. Xia Pingan was already packing his things. If there's nothing else, I'll be returning to Xianghe today. Yen Duo didn't even ask about Xia Pingan's fusing with the God Realm bead. He just nodded. There's nothing else here. I'll bring you to the provincial department later. Alright. Yen Duo's expression suddenly turned serious, but you should consider my previous suggestion carefully. You've already completely condensed the Foundation Realm bead and become a summoner, but the summoning techniques you've mastered are still very simple. You've only mastered a few basic summoning techniques. In the future, if you want to improve your god power and strength and master more summoning techniques, you'll have to continuously fuse with other realm bead. I know your director Mo is worried that I'll poach him and must have reminded you, but if you follow me, I won't dare to say much about other things, but if it's realm beads, I can at least get you 2 realm beads in a year. If you agree to come, I can get you a slave soldier realm bead tomorrow. Slave soldier realm pearl? Yes, after fusing with it, you will be able to summon slave soldiers. This slave soldier realm pearl is also one of the summoner's favorite realm pearls. The failure rate of fusing with the slave soldier realm pearl is less than 1%, and the success rate is the highest. Once you fuse with it, in addition to the fireball technique, you will have another summoning slot that can be used directly for battle. Your ability to protect yourself and deal with unexpected situations will greatly increase. If you return to Fragrant River, you may only get the chance to fuse with the Slave Soldier Realm Pearl next year. Xia Pingan thought for a while. I will consider your suggestion, but I still want to go back to Xianghe now. It doesn't matter. My door is always open for you. Yen Duo wasn't disappointed. He nodded calmly. Poaching wasn't something that could be done with just a few words. It was a gradual process of building trust. Yen Duo had plenty of experience in this regard, so he wasn't in a hurry. May I ask, how many types of realm pearls are there? Thinking of the secret mandala that he had just successfully condensed, Xia Pingan's heart skipped a beat and he asked. At present, more than 3,600 different types of realm pearls have been discovered and recorded. This number is still increasing. Summoners can often see more than 100 types of realm pearls, but ordinary summoners may not be able to fuse more than 100 realm pearls in their lifetime. So many. Xia Pingan was a little shocked. It sounds like a lot, but in fact it's not much. Some realm pearls are common and there are many of them. Some realm pearls are uncommon and there are few of them. Ordinary people can't find them. Are there any precedents of successful fusing with these realm pearls? Some have, some haven't, and some don't know if there are any. Yen Duo summarized concisely. Some summoners have successfully fused with some rare realm pearls, and they have mastered special abilities and special summoning slots. They are also secretive, so it's difficult for others to know. Xia Pingan nodded and picked up his bag. I see. I understand. Let's go. Yen Duo drove Xia Pingan to the headquarters of Izhou Province's Committee of Order. Within a few minutes, the helicopter from Xianghe City arrived. Xia Pingan boarded the helicopter and waved goodbye to Yen Duo. The helicopter didn't stay for a moment longer. As soon as Xia Pingan boarded the helicopter, it took off and flew towards Xianghe City. Just after the helicopter left, an old man appeared beside Yen Duo at some point in time. The old man was hale and hearty. His hair was meticulously combed. He was wearing a black striped double-breasted suit and shiny leather shoes. He was full of gentlemanly demeanor. Both of his hands were holding a dragon-headed walking stick. He raised his head and looked at the helicopter slowly flying away with a special gaze. Just like what Mrs. Qian said, this kid is not bad. He has a lot of things hidden on him. Even Mrs. Qian couldn't completely see through him. It's a waste to leave him in Xianghe City. Looking at the helicopter flying away, the old man secretly said in his heart. As soon as the old man appeared, Yen Duo's handsome face suddenly showed a flattering smile. Cough cough, old man, how was my mission this time? The garbage clearing mission has been successfully completed. Is there any reward from the provincial department? I haven't seen a new realm pearl in a long time. I don't know. I haven't settled the score with you for the mistake you made in the mission in Japan last time. The base in Antarctica is still short of a lamplighter. How about I transfer you to Antarctica to train for a few years? The old man's casual words made Yen Duo swallow all the words he wanted to say. Haha, I'm kidding. The flattering smile on Yen Duo's face had turned into flattery. He even bent down a little. It's just a small matter. I didn't do much. How can I ask for a reward? If you don't have any orders, I'll take my leave first. Yen Duo said and wanted to slip away. Well, before you leave, remember to go to the finance department and hand in the money you won from the Death Corner fighting ring. There should be 60 million, right? That's your illegal gains from the mission, not the mission reward. The old man said calmly. Don't, old man. I've been so poor recently that I can't even open a pot. I only played a little. Leave some for me. Seeing that I've been running around, let me earn some money for my hard work. Yen Duo's face instantly turned bitter. Is that so? If you go to Antarctica, you won't be able to spend money even if you have it. Don't. I'll go turn it in, okay? Didn't I just win 60 million? I won't take a single cent that I shouldn't have earned, Yen Duo said righteously. He didn't dare to stay for a moment longer, afraid that the old man would say something that would scare him. He had already slipped away. The old man looked at the distant sky, a strange light flashing in his eyes. He muttered to himself, 3 foundation establishment realm beads, 2 perfect fusion, and a summoner who completed the foundation establishment with 70 points of divine power. It's been many years since someone like that has appeared. Xia Pingan, we'll meet again soon. An hour later, Xia Pingan returned to the National Order Association in Xianghe City. The helicopter landed on the helipad at the top of the building. Xia Pingan carried his bag and got off the helicopter. He saw Mo Yanxiao waiting outside the helipad. At this time, it was only 10 in the morning. Mo Yanxiao and the rest had just returned a few hours ago. The others were probably still catching up on sleep. I heard that you completed the mission well this time. Mo Yanxiao stared at Xia Pingan with a strange expression. He had already seen the video of the battle between Xia Pingan and the brown bear butcher. The performance of the black cobra in Xia Pingan's hands had shocked him. He didn't expect Xia Pingan's ability to use a whip to such an extent. The tail of the black cobra steel whip was like a bullet in Xia Pingan's hands. Its power was too shocking. I'm just lucky. Xia Pingan didn't have any arrogance on his face. Instead, he said humbly, "Did that bastard Yen Duo try to trick you?" Mo Yanxiao asked directly. Xia Pingan laughed. Mo Yanxiao understood and cursed silently. That bastard Yen Duo was still the same. Once he crossed the river, he would burn the bridge. Thinking of Xia Pingan's requiem banner, Mo Yanxiao was really afraid that Xia Pingan would be abducted by Yen Duo. As the two of them walked towards the elevator, Mo Yanxiao said to Xia Pingan, "Yen Duo formed a small operation team in the provincial department. The work he does is more complicated and very dangerous. It's not something an ordinary summoner can do. He should be interested in the ability of your requiem banner. You just became a summoner, so you should first stay in the Committee of Order for 2 years to familiarize yourself with the various aspects of the situation and steadily improve your strength. There's no need to rush into taking risk. I've already applied for a new realm pearl from the provincial department. When you perform well, the provincial department will probably give you a slave soldier realm pearl very soon." Since Mo Yanxiao had already said this, Xia Pingan also expressed his stance. "Thank you, Director. I feel that I'm doing well in Xianghe City. I have no plans to leave." Mo Yanxiao secretly sighed in relief. "You just became a summoner. You can go home and have a good rest this weekend. When next Monday begins, you will officially join the Special Operations Division. These days, Xianghe City has been a little strange. There may be more missions later on. Be prepared." "Light up?" "Yes, there's still some investigation work." "Okay. Your work ID and special equipment have been sent down. You can go to Laozhou to collect them." The elevator door opened and reached the 9th floor. After giving a few instructions to Xia Pingan, Mo Yanxiao and Xia Pingan parted ways. From beginning to end, Mo Yanxiao did not ask Xia Pingan about the situation after fusing with the realm pearl of the gods. Was this the tacit understanding and unspoken rules between summoners? Unless the other person took the initiative to mention it, they would generally not ask about the fusion of the realm pearl and the secret mandala. Looking at Mo Yanxiao's back as he left, Xia Pingan had a new understanding of the tacit understanding between summoners. Even Yen Duo did not ask much about it. Xia Pingan first returned to his room 963 and put down his luggage in the room. He took out the black cobra and placed it on the weapon rack. After that, He left the room and went to the equipment department on the 7th floor of B6. There was no one in the superstore in the equipment department. There was only a cute robot walking around. Only the sound of machines and sparks could be faintly heard from the CNC machine room at the back. Xia Pingan did not wait too long. He only wandered around a few stores for 1 or 2 minutes. Then, he saw Lao Zhou, who was wearing a pair of goggles and taking off his gloves, walking out from the back of the store. Chapter 39. Seeing Xia Pingan, Lao Zhou grinned. "Kid, I heard you used that black cobra to kill a scumbag in Xinchuan a few days ago?" "Haha, Uncle Zhou, you're well informed." Xia Pingan laughed. "Oh right, I just fused with the Celestial Realm bead this morning. I'm now a summoner. Not bad, not bad. I knew you were a promising kid. That black cobra is the best match for you." Lao Zhou walked over, took off his goggles and put his gloves aside. He reached under a counter and took out 2 suitcases, one silver and one black, and put them on the counter. "The things inside are all yours. The headquarters just sent them out. You'll need them in the future. Take a look. If there's no problem, sign here." Lao Zhou took out another list. Xia Pingan opened the silver suitcase first. He was shocked by the things inside. The silver suitcase was divided into 2 layers. The top layer contained more than 10 work IDs, and the bottom layer contained more than 10 passports. The most eye-catching item on top of the IDs was a small black book with the dragon-patterned sword and shield emblem of the Committee of Order. Xia Pingan took the small book and flipped it open. He saw his anti-counterfeiting profile picture and the eye-catching seal of the National Committee of Order. Great Yen Republic National Committee of Order Work ID Name, Xia Pingan Ability Profession, Summoner Serial Number, Division A3617181150. This small black book was very impressive. It was also a prop that often appeared in various movies and TV series. In those movies and TV series, as long as the characters showed this ID, they would have priority in law enforcement and could freely enter almost all non-national secret agencies and places. Moreover, all law enforcement agencies and government agencies had to cooperate with them. "Is this my work ID?" Holding the work permit that symbolized authority and heavy responsibility, Xia Pingan's heart was filled with mixed feelings. From the moment he received this ID, he had officially become a summoner of the National Committee of Order in the Fire Country. He had joined the big family that relied on the government. Hee kid, don't just stand there. You won't be able to use this ID much. You might not even be able to take it out once in a few years. This is your level 1 ID in the Committee of Order. Those scenes in movies and TV series are just for kids. Look at other IDs. Other IDs will be more useful. Lao Zhou reminded him. Xia Pingan smiled and put down the ID. Then, he picked up a small book with a dark blue cover with the words Gun Certificate written on it. He opened the small notebook, and there was still his anti-counterfeiting photo, the seal of the relevant government agencies in the country of fire, and his identification number. This was a level 1 certificate. The most useful part of the document was the sentence in the document. This certificate is the legal certificate for the holder to openly possess and use pistols, automatic weapons, and all other special firearms with a caliber no larger than 12.7 mm in the 56 provinces and 2 overseas territories of the Great Yen Republic. Xia Pingan read this sentence several times. The gun certificate in the Great Fire Country was divided into 3 levels. The Level 3 certificate could only allow the holder to possess special pistols. The Level 2 certificate could allow the holder to possess automatic weapons. The Level 1 certificate could allow the holder to possess the widest range of firearms, including almost all light weapons with a caliber lower than 12.7 mm. Remember the serial number of the certificate. You don't have to carry it with you. If you want to carry a gun out in the future, just remember the serial number of the certificate. If you encounter the police or other law enforcement agencies, just report the serial number of the certificate. Lao Zhou reminded him. Xia Pingan nodded. He put down the certificate and picked up another document. This document was a reporter's certificate. It was issued by the Light Valley News Agency of the Great Yen Republic. The Light Valley News Agency was the official news agency of the Great Fire Country. It was one of the 5 largest news agencies and media groups in the world. It was an organization on par with Agence France Presse, TASS News Agency, Xinhua News Agency, DPA News Agency, and others. They had many television stations, newspapers, and websites under them. Apart from the reporter's certificate, there were more than 10 other documents, such as the police certificate, the detective certificate, the lawyer certificate, the environmental inspection certificate, the psychologist certificate, and so on. There was even a feng shui master certificate issued by the Great Fire Country's Feng Shui Master Association. The person in the certificate was Xia Pingan. Apart from the documents, there were more than 10 passports in the box. Some were from Great Yen and some were from other countries. Naturally, the person in the passports was also Xia Pingan. Are these documents real? Xia Pingan asked Lao Zhou. Of course they're real. These documents are your secondary work documents from the Committee of Order. Apart from not going to work in these places and not being paid by these places, these documents can withstand any kind of inspection. There's no problem at all. Most of the time, the people from the Special Operations Division of the Committee of Order use other identities when they go out on missions. They use the reporter's certificate and the police certificate more often. This way, they won't cause panic among the ordinary people. Xia Pingan finally understood. Previously, he heard from Mo Yanshao that the people from the Special Operations Division used different identities when they went out. They had many aliases. He thought that it was just a bluff. He did not expect that the aliases prepared by the Committee of Order for the Special Operations Division were so watertight that no one could find any problems with them. What about these passports? These passports are also useful. Don't tell me you think that you'll only be carrying out missions in Xianghe City forever. It's very common for the summoners of the Special Operations Division to carry out special missions in and out of the country. Sigh, the identities of those special agents are just like this, right? Xia Pingan sighed. How can special agents be compared to summoners? A special agent will use at most 2 or 3 documents to hide their identity. How can they have as many as we have? Moreover, the special agents' passports are basically fake official passport. Ours are all real. Lao Zhou glared at him with an expression that said, when special agents go overseas, they're like rats on the street. When we go overseas, people are eagerly waiting and warmly welcoming us. How can you compare? You're a summoner now, so you have to have the awareness of a summoner. It's always others who beg us, but we've never begged others. Summoners travel all over the world to drink and eat meat. Yes, yes, yes. Uncle Zhou, you're right. I was wrong. Xia Pingan immediately admitted his mistake with a smile. He did not expect Lao Zhou to have such a strong sense of collective honor. Put these documents in your office. You can choose which documents to bring out according to your needs. Okay. Xia Pingan nodded and then opened the black box next to him. Xia Pingan opened the black box next to him. There was an antique bronze lotus lamp inside. Seeing this antique lamp, Xia Pingan's eyes moved. The shape of this antique lamp, in Xia Pingan's eyes, was exactly the same as the antique lamp of Northern Qi unearthed from Wang Jiafeng's tomb in Taiyuan City. Could this be a coincidence? But there was no Northern Qi in this world, and there was no Wang Jiafeng's tomb. But these 2 lamps were too similar. Xia Pingan's eyes slowly became serious. He looked at Lao Zhou. This is the lamp lighter, the one. Old Zhou nodded as he looked at the lamp with a pious look. That's the lamp. It was sent from the headquarters. This lamp is a rare magical item. Remember to use it carefully. I can't fix it if it's broken. Drip a drop of blood on the wick of the lamp, and it'll belong to you from now on. Remember, if you're alive, the lamp will be there even if you're not. If you're alive, you'll have the lamp. You should know how to use it. You should know how to use it. Xia Pingan nodded and carefully took the bronze lotus lamp out of the groove in the box. From the outside, this lamp looked no different from an ordinary bronze lamp. There was nothing special about its weight, and its appearance could not be considered exquisite. But for some reason, looking at this lamp, he felt that it was somewhat special. After holding the lamp and looking at it for a while, Xia Pingan twisted the ring on his finger, revealing a silver needle. In front of Lao Zhou, he pricked his finger and dripped 2 drops of blood onto the lamp. A few seconds later, the bronze lotus lamp flashed brilliantly, and Xia Pingan's drop of blood was absorbed. Holding the lamp in his hand, Xia Pingan's heart and lamp resonated. The antique lamp was faint, as if it was ready to be lit at any time by Xia Pingan, releasing a brilliance to protect the safety of the place in the darkness. Chapter 40. There was a new change in the cafeteria. At noon, when Xia Pingan arrived at the cafeteria, there was pop music playing in the cafeteria. The equipment playing the music was an exaggeratedly shaped purple loudspeaker that was even taller than Xia Pingan. In the middle of a few loudspeakers, there was a pile of square box playback equipment that Xia Pingan had seen before or never seen before. It filled up a bookcase that was half the height of a person. It looked very awesome and should also be very expensive. The chefs working in the cafeteria listened to the music with a look of enjoyment on their faces. The effect of the loudspeaker was a little shocking. When the music was played, the entire cafeteria was like a concert hall. Tu Polu, Fang Lingshan and Chao Xinghua were already sitting in the cafeteria. When they saw Xia Pingan arrive with the cafeteria, the 3 of them were not surprised. Only Old Tu asked, "Did you fuse it?" Xia Pingan nodded. "Yes. We will be going on missions together in the future." Old Tu smiled and continued to gnaw on the bloody steak on his plate. Chao Xinghua raised his eyelids and glanced at Xia Pingan. He only said 2 words, "Congratulations." "Thank you." As for Fang Lingshan, she only nodded slightly at Xia Pingan and did not say anything. These people had been stimulated twice by Xia Pingan's perfect fusion with the Divine Fire Realm bead and the Soul Pacifying Banner. They did not feel anything about Xia Pingan's fusion with the Divine Fire Realm bead. It was as if it was a matter of course. If Xia Pingan could not fuse with the Divine Fire Realm bead, they might be surprised. Xia Pingan sat directly opposite Old Tuesday. As he drank the ginseng black chicken soup in the cafeteria, he asked, "The loudspeaker in the cafeteria is a little extravagant. Is the committee of order so well funded?" That loudspeaker was left behind by Old Man. Old Tu paused, a nostalgic look on his face. "Yesterday, before you came back, Old Man was transferred away by the headquarters. He was promoted, and the headquarters transferred him to Europe. He left his favorite horn speaker in the canteen. You weren't there, so you didn't attend Old Man's farewell ceremony." Old Manzi, the flamboyant man who likes to wear flowery shirts? Xia Pingan still had some impression of him. He had seen him twice before. That flirtatious man was the person in charge of the information center of the Xianghe Committee of Order. Old Man is a good person, but he has a glib tongue. Chao Xinghua, who had been quiet all the time, finally opened his mouth. Old Man donates a lot of money to charity every year. When he was here, I couldn't wait to kick him to death. Now that he's gone, I feel like something is missing in this building. It's a bit boring. I'm really not used to it. Fang Lingshan also said softly. It's okay. It's not like you can't see him. When you want to be harassed by him, let's go to Europe to drink with him during the holidays, Tu Polu said casually. After a short while, Anqing, Mo Yanshao and Li Yunzhou arrived. Everyone seemed to know that Xia Pingan had integrated with the Immortal Realm bead. Therefore, they didn't ask much about it. Anqing congratulated Xia Pingan with a smile. Li Yunzhou yawned as he patted Xia Pingan's shoulder. "Come on, you can call me senior from now on." After lunch, Mo Yanxiao directly started to assign tasks at the dining table. "There's something strange in the warehouse of the old graphite factory, number 46 Lin An Road. More than one person reported to the police that they saw a shadow flashing through the window of the warehouse last night. This morning, the police sent people to check it out, but they didn't find anything strange. Anqing, Xia Pingan, you two go check it out together in the afternoon after lunch. If there's really something strange there, ordinary policemen won't be able to find it." "Okay." Anqing glanced at Xia Pingan and reminded him. Her beautiful eyes were sparkling. "Remember to bring your gun and reporter's pass with you in the afternoon." "Head, how about I go with Anqing?" Li Yunzhou said shamelessly. Mo Yanxiao glanced at him. "You and Chao Xinghua go to the Lingshi building to check it out." According to the analysis of several big data files left by Old Man before he left, the tracks of 2 missing people last week overlapped in the Lingshi building. The Lingshi building is an important screening point. Glancing at Chao Xinghua, who was like a rock, Li Yunzhou suddenly became discouraged. "Old 2, Lingshan, you two go to the Qinglong Reservoir in the afternoon. That's also the location where the tracks of the missing people, according to the analysis of the big data, converge." Everyone accepted the order. The meal was quickly finished, and everyone returned to their rooms to prepare. After returning to his room, Xia Pingan put on his holster and inserted the Manuel MR98 into the holster. The holster also had 5 quick-loading clips. Each clip had 6 bullets, and with the 6 bullets in the gun, he had a total of 36 bullets, which was enough to deal with most situations. For revolvers like the Manuel MR98, the slow loading speed had always been a shortcoming of revolvers. In order to make up for this shortcoming, people had invented some auxiliary reloading tools. The quick loading clip and quick loading clip were 2 of the auxiliary reloading tools. The quick loading clip was disc-shaped, and its diameter was about the same as the revolver's wheel. This thing reloaded quickly, but it was round and very inconvenient to carry around as it took up a lot of space. In comparison, the quick loading clip was much more convenient. It was smaller than ordinary clips and was flat. As long as one was familiar with it, they could also finish reloading the revolver in the shortest amount of time. Xia Pingan had spent most of his time practicing his gun these days on how to use the quick loading clip to reload the revolver. After becoming familiar with it, his reloading speed was already very fast. After carrying the gun, he took out the reporter ID from the pile of documents and wore it on his body. He wore a sports jacket on the outside, so no one would be able to tell that he was carrying a gun. Xia Pingan came to the parking lot, and Anqing also came down. Yasuharu had changed into a beige windbreaker, black trousers, a white shirt, and a pair of women's leather shoes with round heads and shallow necklaces. She was clean and neat, bright and moving. In an instant, she had turned into a capable female reporter. A few minutes later, Anqing's red Ferrari 599 had just rushed out of the door of the Public Order Committee member's office when a black motorcycle caught up from behind like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, it ran in front of the Ferrari 599. On the motorcycle was a female rider wearing a black leather jacket and a helmet. Judging from the female rider's hot figure, the female rider was Fong Lingshan. Old 2 drove his SUV with 6 exhaust pipes and rushed up from behind. He drove alongside Anqing. After greeting her, they separated at the intersection and followed Fong Lingshan's lightning-fast motorcycle in another direction. This time, Anqing didn't drive as fiercely as before, and there were no police lights on the car. 30 minutes later, Anqing drove the car to the underground parking lot of a hotel on Lin An Road. She and Xia Pingan took the elevator from the underground parking lot to the hotel lobby. After walking out of the lobby, they walked a few hundred meters and arrived at the old graphite factory's warehouse on Lynn and Road. The old graphite factory's warehouse was an old building that was half abandoned. It hadn't been used for a long time, and the mottled, rusty metal door was left ajar. From the outside, the courtyard outside the warehouse was overgrown with weeds, and one of the windows facing the street was broken. Through the gap in the door, one could easily squeeze in by leaning sideways. Xia Pingan was the first to enter, followed by Enching. Xia Pingan didn't dare to let his guard down. The moment he entered, he took out his gun. After the fire rescue, he knew that there were some things hidden in the city that were much more terrifying than he had imagined. There were weeds growing in the courtyard, and there were some abandoned wooden boxes and a few rusty steel rails scattered around. Other than that, there wasn't anything else that was too eye-catching. The two of them first searched the courtyard outside the warehouse. After confirming that there was nothing out of the ordinary, they walked into the warehouse. The warehouse was divided into 2 floors, and almost all the doors were open. Some of the rooms were empty, and some of the rooms were filled with dust. At first glance, there wasn't anything special. Xia Pingan told Enching what he saw from afar. "Let's go in and take a look. Some things can only be felt and discovered at a close distance." The two of them carefully searched the warehouse on the first floor, but they didn't find anything. They searched the warehouse on the second floor again, but they didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Strange, there was more than one call from the surrounding residents. They all said that they saw shadows and heard movements here at night. Could it be that a scavenger wanderer came here? Enching's eyes scanned the surroundings of the warehouse, and her delicate eyebrows frowned slightly. But there are no traces of wanderers or scavengers living here. Judging from the fresh footprints of leather shoes on the first and second floor of the warehouse and the corridor, only 2 policemen came here to take a look before leaving. They didn't find anything else. Xia Pingan raised his head and looked at the beam at the top of the warehouse, the crane, and the street lamp outside the window. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. He climbed up the stairs to the top of the crane and walked to the bottom of the beam at the top of the warehouse where there was a pile of broken sacks and wooden boxes. There, he heard a special sound. He squatted down and lifted a wooden board. He saw that under the board, there was a litter of cute kittens that had just opened their eyes and were still crying for food. Meow. Just then, 2 big tabby cats came in through a broken window at the top of the warehouse and walked along the beam. One of the big tabby cats had 2 mice in its mouth. When it saw Xia Pingan, the big tabby cat that didn't have mice in its mouth screamed nervously and angrily. Xia Pingan covered the board and retreated. "There's a litter of kittens up there. I think I know what the shadows that the people outside saw were." Xia Pingan pointed to the big tabby cat on the beam, and then pointed to the street lamp outside that was facing the beam. And Enching suddenly understood. At night, when the street lamp outside was turned on, the 2 big tabby cats went home from the beam. The street lamp enlarged their shadows and cast them on the wall on the other side of the warehouse. If there were people outside the warehouse, they would feel that there were shadows flashing in the warehouse from the window on the wall. After investigation, there was nothing unusual in the warehouse. It was just a false alarm that the 2 cats had settled down here. Xia Pingan and the others didn't find anything here, but at the Lingshi building, Chao Xinghua and Li Yunzhou made an important discovery. Chapter 41. When Xia Pingan and Enching rushed to Lingshi building, the entrance to the parking lot of Lingshi building had already been cordoned off by the police. Only when they entered the underground from the entrance did they see the cordon of the Committee of Order inside. The police were responsible for maintaining order outside to prevent the public from panicking and making wild guesses, while the people from the Committee of Order were inside to deal with tricky situations that the police could not handle. In addition to the Special Operations Division, the other departments of the Committee of Order also arrived. On the second floor of Lingshi building, In addition to the underground parking lot, there was also an underground cold storage of more than 2,000 square meters. When they arrived at the entrance of the underground cold storage, Xia Pingan saw a pile of completely charred human-shaped traces of ashes at the entrance of the underground cold storage. Xia Pingan could tell at a glance that it was the result of a summoner's fireball. The corpse had turned to ashes, and its face was difficult to recognize. However, in the pile of charred ashes on the ground, there were belt buckles, metal badges, and other small metal objects that had melted and deformed from the heat. After passing through the entrance of the cold storage and entering the cold storage, the temperature suddenly dropped by many degrees. The cold storage was full of frozen pork hung on iron hooks. There was a strong smell of blood in the cold storage. The dark red light in the cold storage was on. Pieces of pale pork hung there, densely packed, like a forest of corpses. It looked terrifying. Xia Pingan walked in and heard Li Yunzhou's voice coming from inside. The security guard guarding the cold storage didn't show any abnormalities before. But when Old Chow and I took out the environmental inspection certificate, Old Chow went into the cold storage to check. When I was watching from outside, the security guard lied to me and wanted to trick me into the cold storage. But I'm so smart, so how could I be fooled? I noticed that something was wrong with the security guard at that time. When he saw that I didn't enter the cold storage, the security guard suddenly started attacking me. I fired 2 shots at him and found that the bullets didn't work on him. At that time, I realized that the security guard might be a living corpse. Then I cast a fireball and melted him. At that time, Old Chow also noticed the abnormality in the cold storage and saw this demon I piled up here. After entering the cold storage, Xia Pingan saw Mo Yanshao, Li Yunzhou, and Chao Xinghua. The 3 of them were talking about something with solemn expressions. In the cold storage around the 3 of them, Xia Pingan saw the familiar sacrificial pattern. Another demon eye. The demon eye made up of more than a dozen broken limbs, torsos, and heads was on the ground of the cold storage, and it was larger than the one in the shopping center. The limbs of the corpses that formed the demon eye were all stiff and covered with a layer of snow-white frost. Judging from the number of heads that formed the eyeball, there were 17 people who had died here. There were men and women among the 17 corpses. They were all below the age of 40 and above the age of 15. There was a fist-sized hole in the middle of each corpse's forehead. Looking from the hole, the brain tissue in the cranial cavity had disappeared without a trace. The pale heads covered in a layer of frost were piled up in a pile, and there was a large hole in each of their heads. The cranial cavity was empty. This scene was enough to scare a timid person to tears. Based on the analysis of the bodies of the victims, their brains were sucked dry before they died. It seems that the members of the demon eye who attacked have taken the initiative to fuse with brain-eating insects. Other than the security guard at the door, no other hosts controlled by brain-eating insects have been found in the building for the time being. Chao Xinghua said to Mo Yanshao, "Brain-eating insects." Xia Pingan's heart skipped a beat. Brain-eating insects could be said to be the most dangerous type of space-invading creatures. Those creatures first parasitized in the human body, then hatched, grew up, and became the human brain. Finally, they completed the control and fusion of the human body and changed the genes of the human body. Finally, they could completely turn a person into a brain-eating monster. What was more dangerous was that brain-eating insects could also use other people as hosts to control their behavior, turning the controlled hosts into walking corpses without any abnormalities on the outside. Compared to demon rats, brain-eating insects were more dangerous. Moreover, the ability of brain-eating insects did not produce any supernatural energy fluctuations, so they would not be perceived by the people who lit the lamp. People who took the initiative to fuse with brain-eating insects would have all the abilities of brain-eating insects, so they were even more terrifying. The surveillance video of the building is still running normally. The Technical Analysis Department has already retrieved the surveillance video of the building and the duty records of the security guards of this cold storage. The bodies here must have been transported in batches from outside. I still remember the faces of a few of them. They are the people who were reported missing in Xianghe City during this period. While Mo Yanxiao was speaking, Xia Pingan and Enqing had already arrived beside the three of them. Enqing glanced at the Demon's Eye underground. It seems that there are other members of the Demon's Eye lurking in Xianghe City. The one last time was a phantom monster parasitized. Xia Pingan's Requiem banner can restrain the living corpses controlled by brain-eating insects. Mo Yanxiao's gaze fell on Xia Pingan. If we find another living corpse controlled by brain-eating insects, we might need you to take action. Xia Pingan nodded. 2 minutes later, Tu Polu and Fang Lingshan also arrived. The two of them did not find anything unusual at the Azure Dragon Reservoir. The Technical Analysis Department of the Committee of Order quickly sent the result. In the past month, this cold storage had been guarded by the security guard. The only person who had close contact with the security guard was the boss of this cold storage. The boss of this cold storage was called Gao Qingshan. The boss of the cold storage drove a truck into the cold storage every 1 or 2 days and closed the door to unload and load goods. Except for the boss of the cold storage, no one else had entered this underground cold storage in the past month. After a comprehensive analysis, the boss of this cold storage was either the host of the brain-eating insects or a member of the Demon's Eye who had fused with the brain-eating insects. If the boss of the cold storage was the host of the brain-eating insects, then the member of the Demon's Eye who had fused with the brain-eating insects was someone else. However, the host of the brain-eating insects was connected to the main body. The distance between the two could not exceed a certain range, which was generally between a few kilometers and dozens of kilometers. Once the host exceeded a certain range, it would die. Judging from the distance, the member of the Demon's Eye who had fused with the brain-eating insects was still in Xianghe City. However, after the security guard's accident, the member of the Demon's Eye must have sensed it. It was unknown whether he had absconded. There was also a limit to the number of hosts that the brain-eating insects could control. This was determined by the level of the brain-eating insect. The minimum was 1, the maximum was dozens, and the maximum was 81. If the boss of the cold storage was a member of the Demon's Eye, then he was the main body of the brain-eating insects. Then, the result was not optimistic because the person who had fused with the brain-eating insects had the ability to change his body and appearance like an octopus and a chameleon. It was possible that in other corners and places of the city, there were brain-eating insects hosts and Demon's Eye that had not been discovered. The Committee of Order began to quickly investigate the movements of the boss of the cold storage in recent months and checked his customers, family, and friends to see if there were any abnormalities. The arrest warrant was issued immediately. The police received the arrest warrant. The boss of the cold storage, Gao Qingshan, was the main culprit of the first-degree murder with a gun. He might have accomplices. If he resisted arrest and escaped, he could be killed immediately. A clear photo of the boss of the cold storage, Gao Qingshan, was also sent to Xia Pingan's work phone. It was a middle-aged man in his 40s with gloomy eyes, fat eyes, and a slightly bald face. Gao Qingshan had no children and was alone. He was currently missing. A few years ago, he came to Xianghe City to open a freezing factory and had been keeping a low profile. After a quick search, the possibility that Gao Qingshan was a member of the Demon's Eye greatly increased. Mo Yanxiao and Xia Pingan both used their remote vision abilities to participate in the search throughout the city, but their remote vision abilities did not find any traces of Gao Qingshan. This meant that either Gao Qingshan had left Xianghe City, or he might have changed his appearance but was still in Xianghe City. The Committee of Order of Xianghe City was doing its best to hunt down this member of the Demon's Eye hiding in Xianghe City. If Gao Qingshan was still in Xianghe City, With his familiarity with Xianghe City and his ability to fuse with the man-eating insects, it would definitely not be easy for the Committee of Order to find someone who could change his identity and face at any time in such a large city. This was also the greatest difficulty for the Committee of Order in facing space-invading creatures and the demon's eye. In most cases, discovery was equivalent to destruction and killing, but the most difficult thing was the process of discovery. The members of the demon's eye who had fused with the brain-eating insects and the living corpses controlled by the brain-eating insects were like a drop of water disappearing in the ocean of this city, making it difficult to find them. For a short time, the Committee of Order could not confirm whether the member of the demon's eye had left Xianghe City or was still hiding somewhere in the city. When it was time to get off work in the evening, the streets of Xianghe City were still bustling with activity. Most of the ordinary people knew nothing about the dangers around them and the hidden dangerous monsters. They just did what they were supposed to do every day. After a busy afternoon, Xia Pingan, who had finished his first case analysis meeting with the Special Operations Division at the Committee of Order's residence, walked out of the Committee of Order alone, went to the bus stop outside, and waited for the bus to arrive. Just like the police chasing a murderer, even if the murderer had not been caught, they still had to get off work and rest when it was time to get off work. Tomorrow was the weekend, and Xia Pingan had not been home for almost 2 weeks. Tonight, he promised Xia Ning that he would go home and cook for her. Life was like this. Chapter 42. There were not many people on the bus along the way. Only a few people were standing in the bus. Some of the people sitting on the bus were drowsy, while others were playing with their phones. Inside the bus, only the sound of the TV was echoing in the bus, broadcasting news and advertisements. Today, a murder case happened in the underground cold storage of the Lingshire building. When our reporter arrived, the police had already set up a cordon outside the building. According to the police, a security guard in the underground cold storage of the building has been killed. After the police checked the surveillance footage, they found that the owner of the underground cold storage, Gao Qingshan, committed the murder with a gun. The reason for the murder may be a labor dispute. The police have issued a warrant for arrest. If any enthusiastic citizens find useful clues, they can call the police and the police will offer a reward of 100,000 yuan. Xia Pingan, who was sitting in the back of the bus, looked up at the TV in front of him. The photo of a middle-aged man in his 40s with gloomy eyes, fat eyes, and a slightly bald face appeared on the TV. Under the photo, there was a reward of 100,000 yuan. The National Committee of Order and the Demon's Eye formed by the corpses in the underground cold storage did not appear on the news. People who watched the news thought that this was a bad criminal case. Xia Pingan noticed that when the news was broadcasted, most of the people in the bus just looked up at the beautiful female reporter on the TV screen in the bus. No one cared. Perhaps this was the best for ordinary people. If the bloody and terrifying scene in the underground cold storage appeared on TV, most people would not be able to sleep well at night. No one would dare to go out at night. They arrived at the bus stop. Not far from the community where Xia Pingan rented, Xia Pingan got off the bus. There was a fresh supermarket outside. After getting off the bus, Xia Pingan went straight into the supermarket and bought some vegetables. 10 minutes later, Xia Pingan walked out of the fresh supermarket. The shopping bag in his hand was already filled with the things he had bought. Hoof tendons, sea cucumbers, mushrooms, abalone, shark fin, chicken, shrimp, and some fresh vegetables. These ingredients cost more than 300 yuan. Carrying his stuff, Xia Pingan walked straight to his apartment. As he entered the apartment, the security guard who was watching TV in the reception room downstairs glanced at Xia Pingan and continued watching TV. Everything in the corridor was the same as before. Xia Pingan came to the door of the top floor. Just as he was about to take out his key, he realized that the lock on the security door of his rented room had been changed. The previous lock was no longer there. The new lock was shiny, but Xia Pinggan's key could no longer be inserted. F***CK. Uncle Hong would not change the lock. If he wanted to change the lock, he would have to tell him. This was something that Xingdong would do. Because on the security door, there was a small card with transparent tape. On the small card, there was a line of words: New landlord's phone number 138X*X*X. Tenants of this house, please contact the new landlord to get the key. Xia Pinggan hung the shopping bag in his hand on the railing of the stairs, took out his phone, and called the new landlord. The phone was dialed, but the line was not busy. However, after waiting for more than 10 seconds, a middle-aged woman's voice appeared on the phone. Hello, who is this? Hello, I am the tenant who previously rented Uncle Hong's apartment. You changed the lock, so I can't get in now. Can you come over and open the lock? Oh, you are that Xia Pinggan. The woman on the phone called out Xia Pinggan's name. Her tone was a bit vulgar and rude. Yes, I am Xia Pinggan. The apartment you are renting now belongs to my family. I will be the landlord from now on. The middle-aged woman's voice was triumphant. Like a machine gun, she did not give Ping An a chance to speak at all. I changed the lock. From this month onwards, the rent will be increased to 3,800 yuan per month. Your previous contract does not count. The contract will be renewed. If you don't want to live here, you can move out. Xia Pinggan frowned slightly. The same apartment in this community cost about 3,200 to 3,300 yuan per month. That was the result of Uncle Hong not willing to increase the rent, and Xia Pinggan himself took the initiative to increase the rent several times. Looking at the new lock and listening to the woman's voice on the phone, Xia Pinggan suppressed the discomfort in his heart. However, he still said calmly, I haven't seen the new contract yet. Let me take a look first. I am going home now. Can you give me the key first? Okay, wait for me. The woman hung up the phone rudely. Xia Pinggan could only wait at the door of the apartment. Xia Pinggan could open the lock without the key. However, it would be troublesome to open it at this time. Therefore, he temporarily waited at the door. 20 minutes later, footsteps came from downstairs. It was Xia Ning who came back first. Xia Ning was wearing a yellow cartoon hat, jeans, a white shirt, and a knitted jacket. He was carrying a backpack. He was youthful, beautiful, and full of vitality. Brother, why are you at the door? Did you lose the key? Xia Ning asked. Uncle Hong is going back to the countryside to retire. He sold the apartment. The new landlord changed the lock. Xia Pinggan said helplessly. Why didn't the new landlord inform us that he changed the lock? He had to wait until we were there to change the lock. We were not at home. How could they go in? What if we lost our things? Seeing the small note on the security door, Xia Ning was very angry. Just from this matter, Xia Ning felt that the new landlord did not respect him. This matter was not serious. The new landlord just changed the lock. However, if it was serious, it was trespassing. Xia Pinggan and Uncle Hong's lease contract was still there. They were still in the lease period stipulated in the contract. The two siblings could only continue to wait at the door. Xia Ning asked about Xia Pinggan's new job. The salary is not bad, but I might not be able to go home every weekend in the future. Xia Pinggan did not tell Xia Ning that he was already a summoner. He felt that this news would have a big impact on Xia Ning. Moreover, the Committee of Order's summoners had been exaggerated by those movies and TV series. They gave people the impression that they were on the verge of life and death every day, dealing with all kinds of monsters. Although that was the truth, and it was even more exaggerated and dangerous than the movies and TV series. Xia Pinggan did not want Xia Ning to be too worried, so he only played it down. He wanted Xia Ning to think that he was only using his remote vision ability to serve the Committee of Order. The two siblings waited at the door for more than 10 minutes. The sky gradually darkened. Xia Pinggan made another call to the new house, and it was still the woman who answered the phone. Why are you rushing me? I'll come after dinner, the woman said and hung up the phone. Let's go out for dinner tonight. We'll come back after dinner. Xia Pingan smiled apologetically at Xia Ning. But I want to eat brother's fragrant pot soup. I haven't eaten it for a long time. Xia Ning looked at the ingredients that Xia Pingan bought and could not help but swallow his saliva. Brother, your soup is the best. No one can compare to it. The fragrant pot soup that Xia Ning mentioned was the Buddha jumps over the wall that Xia Pingan made. However, there was no Buddha jumps over the wall in this world. There was only the fragrant pot soup that Xia Ning mentioned. Anyway, it won't be good today. It will take a day or two to soak in the water. We don't know when the new landlord will come. Let's not wait here foolishly. Let's fill our stomachs first. We can also eat delicious food outside. Okay. Xia Ning laughed again and hugged Xia Pingan's arm. Let's celebrate your new job and becoming a civil servant. Xia Ning, who was hugging Xia Pingan's arm, felt that there was something hard under Xia Pingan's clothes. He asked, Brother, what are you carrying with you? Why is it so hard? It was Xia Pingan's gun. The whole city was full of danger. Since he could bring a gun back, Xia Pingan did the same. In addition to the gun, he also carried the reporter's certificate that he and Enchin carried when they went out today. He had not put it back in the office yet. That's your brother's work item. It's from the Committee of Order. It's confidential. Let's go. Xia Pingan smiled and did not say much. He hung the ingredients at the door and went downstairs with Xia Ning. Xia Ning did not ask any more questions. The two of them found a good restaurant outside the community and had dinner to celebrate Xia Pingan's new job. After dinner, it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. The two of them slowly returned to the community. Just as they reached the entrance of the community, Xia Pingan's phone rang. He looked at the phone number and saw that it was the new landlord. Xia Pingan picked up the phone. Where are you? Where did you go? We're here. Where did you go? The woman was aggressive on the phone. I'm downstairs in the community. I'm coming up now. Hurry up. We have to go back after signing the contract and paying. Don't waste our time. The woman hung up the phone again. Xia Pingan and Xia Ning returned to the house and found that the door was already open. The lights in the house were on and the door was wide open. The ingredients that Xia Pingan had hung outside the door were also rummaged through. The things that were originally neatly arranged in the bag were now in a mess. Xia Ning bit his lips and glanced at Xia Pingan. He silently took the bag of ingredients that Xia Pingan bought and entered the house. Two people were watching TV in the house. They were a man and a woman. They looked like a couple. One of them was a middle-aged woman with a fat body and a fat face. She wore heavy makeup and looked somewhat sharp and shrewd. The other was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He had a big waist and a buzz cut. The middle-aged man was wearing a t-shirt. Half of his arms were exposed and colorful tattoos could be seen. The man was sitting on the sofa and smoking a cigarette. He looked like a mountain eagle. The ashes of his cigarette casually fell onto the floor of the living room. The floor of the originally clean house was now covered with messy footprints. Many things in the house seemed to have been touched. The paintings that Xia Ning had hung on the wall of the living room were gone. The wall was empty. Seeing that his paintings were gone, Xia Ning's face changed. He put the ingredients in the kitchen and came to the living room. Where are my paintings? The middle-aged woman glanced at Xia Ning and said sharply, Little girl, don't you know how to talk? What paintings? The furniture in this house belongs to our family. We have already bought it. You are just renting the house. How can there be anything that belongs to you? That painting is mine. Xia Ning bit her lips. The paintings hanging in the house were all painted by Xia Ning. Each painting contained the story and memories of her and Xia Pingan. Those were the most precious memories of the two siblings. Xia Pingan glanced around the house and found that even the things in the siblings' bedroom had been turned over. He came to the living room with a cold face and looked at the two new landlords. That painting was painted by my sister. It doesn't belong to the landlords. Return the painting. We don't want to rent it anymore. We want to move out. You must be Xia Pingan. The woman glanced at Xia Pingan and began to act shamelessly. What painting? I didn't see it. At this moment, Xia Ning thought of something. His face changed and he quickly opened a drawer in the living room. The things in the drawer had been rummaged through. Xia Ning took out the box where the siblings kept their money at home. When he opened the box, it was empty. The money that was previously placed in the box was all gone. Brother, our money is gone. Xia Ning felt so wronged that he almost cried. The money in the box was their living expenses. There was also the money that Xia Pingan had left for Xia Ning's summer vacation and pocket money. The total was about 27,000 yuan. Tiger wishes all readers a happy Spring Festival and the Year of the Ox. Tiger will continue to update during the Spring Festival. Chapter 43. Seeing that the money he kept at home was gone, Xia Pingan understood what had happened here. Xia Pingan patted Xia Ning on the shoulder, pulled the angry man to his side, and smiled. It's okay, leave it to me. Xia Ning glared at the middle-aged man and woman. Give us back our money. What money? Don't talk nonsense, we haven't seen it. The middle-aged woman stared at Xia Ning fiercely and threatened. If you talk nonsense again, I'll tear your mouth off. Xia Pingan pulled Xia Ning behind him, and looked at the middle-aged man and woman. He was not angry, but calmly said, Give back my sister's painting and our money, and I won't care about the rest. You're blackmailing us, aren't you? The burly middle-aged man suddenly stood up, threw the cigarette butt on the ground, and stamped it out with his foot. Then he slammed a contract on the table and glared. Don't play this game with me. If you want to continue living here, sign the contract. If you don't want to live here, immediately pay the rent and move out. Don't you know what kind of person I, Malu, am? The woman pointed at Xia Pingan and scolded him fiercely. You're a mechanic and your sister is still young. You're just a repairman and your sister is still in school. Where did you get the money from? Don't even think about extorting money from me. The floorboards in this house are already damaged, the water pipes in the bathroom need to be fixed, and the wallpaper is also damaged. These were all damaged when you lived here. I still want you to compensate me, but you're asking me for money instead. To fix all these, I need at least 50 to 60,000 yuan. If the two of you don't pay for the damage to this house, don't even think about leaving, you. It was the first time that Xia Ning met such unreasonable bullies. His face turned white with anger. As for Xia Pingan, when he heard the woman say that he was a mechanic and his parents were not around, he understood that these two people already knew that he and Xia Ning had no one to rely on and had no social relations, so they were unscrupulous. I'll give you one last chance. Give back the money and things, and we'll move out tomorrow. Xia Pingan said to the two people. Kid, are you looking for trouble? The middle-aged man walked over aggressively. Believe it or not, I'll kill you. My brother is in the nearby police station. How many people in my family are in the police station? I'm still afraid that you'll call the police. Do you think I'm afraid of you two little brats? The woman also came over and pointed at the two people and shouted, I still want you two to pay for the damage of my house. Hee. Xia Pingan smiled. These two people should be husband and wife. This man should be outside. He can't even be considered a gangster. He should only know a few people. This woman's brother might indeed be in the police station. Relying on such a relationship, this couple would take out the trick of acting shamelessly when they saw someone who was easy to bully. They were so domineering and unreasonable. When ordinary people encountered such a situation, they really couldn't do anything to these two people. These two people probably used this trick to taste a lot of benefits before, so they became more and more unscrupulous. I hope you don't regret it. Xia Pingan didn't speak. He just pulled Xia Ning, turned around, and left the house directly. Kid, who are you trying to scare? Pay for the damage of our house first before you go, the woman said and gave the man a look. The two people came over to pull. Once this kind of dispute between ordinary people started, even if they called the police, it would be impossible to resolve it. Seeing that the two people were coming over to pull, Xia Pingan didn't say a word. He directly left the room with Xia Ning, turned around, and left. The couple was stunned for a moment and looked at each other. From their experience, when these two young people encountered this kind of thing, other than arguing and calling the police, there was nothing else they could do. Anyway, they were already prepared to argue. They weren't afraid of calling the police. Xia Ning was full of anger. She didn't know why Xia Pingan actually took her out of the house directly. When they came down from the apartment building and came to the neighborhood streetlight, Xia Ning felt so wronged that she almost cried. Brother, that's what they're good at. They're unreasonable, quarreling, swearing, and being unreasonable. We're not good at these, so we don't need to compete with them. If a dog bites you, you can't bite it back. Xia Pingan smiled. Just find a dog beating stick. What if our things are still up there? The two siblings' things in the house, including the money, had been taken away. The other things left were Xia Ning's paintings and some clothes. Well, they can't take those things away. If we quarrel with them, we can't make a phone call. If they start fighting when I call, I'm afraid they will scare you. They just want to argue with us. If you touch her and she falls to the ground, then we won't be able to get the money back. Xia Pingan smiled, took out his phone, and dialed the Xianghe City police number. Seeing that Xia Pingan was not in a hurry, although Xia Ning's anger was difficult to dissipate, she also calmed down. She knew that her brother had never disappointed anyone. Hello, this is Xianghe City's public police hotline. How can we help you? A female police officer's voice came from the phone. Hello, I want to report a case. Please tell us your detailed address and what happened to you. We will immediately send someone to deal with it. My name is Xia Pingan. I am a special correspondent of the Optics Valley News Agency in Xianghe City. My house in Xianghe City was burglarized. The stolen property includes several paintings, 500,000 in cash, a pistol, and more than 10 rounds of bullets. Xia Ning listened to the side, and her eyes widened. As soon as she heard Xia Pingan say this, she knew that her brother was going to deal with someone. However, wasn't her brother in the Committee of Order? How did he become a special correspondent of the Optics Valley News Agency in Xianghe City? Xia Ning was puzzled, but she just listened to the side without speaking or interrupting. You said that you are a special correspondent of the Optics Valley News Agency in Xianghe City. Your house was burglarized, and a gun and more than 10 rounds of bullets were lost? The female police officer on the phone, who was calm just now, suddenly became nervous. The reporters of the Optics Valley News Agency were not ordinary local media reporters. The reports and manuscripts of the reporters of the Optics Valley News Agency could reach the highest level of the Fire Country. Therefore, the local government was very careful when dealing with the reporters of the Optics Valley News Agency. They did not dare to be negligent. Gun cases were also the cases that the police paid the most attention to. Gun cases had to be directly reported to the Municipal Bureau, and the Municipal Bureau's Criminal Police Brigade would deal with them directly. When the female police officer on the phone heard that Xia Pingan's report actually involved these two elements, and that he was a reporter of the Optics Valley News Agency and had lost a gun, she suddenly became nervous and hurriedly wanted to confirm. Yes, my reporter's ID number is Guang 8987-165-4919, and my gun's ID number is level 13645-001-6717. The gun I lost is a Manuel MR98, which is a special gun. Of course, ordinary reporters did not have a gun's ID, but it was normal for the reporters of the Optics Valley News Agency to have one. This was because everyone knew that the reporters of the Optics Valley News Agency were not ordinary reporters to a certain extent. They might be in charge of some special investigative tasks, and were classified as intelligence personnel with a reporter's ID. Even in the fire country, they might encounter some accidents, so they were allowed to carry a gun. The house I rented before had a new landlord. When I returned home today, I found that the locks had been changed, and the money and gun were gone. Everything in the house was rummaged through, so it should have been burglarized. The address of the house I rented is, yes, it's not safe for me here. Just now, someone made a personal threat to me and wanted to kill me. Yes, they were at my place when I returned. I'm now preparing to stay at the Guangzhou Hotel. If you have any problems, you can find me there. Yes, you can contact me on this phone. After calling the police and hanging up the phone, Xia Pingan smiled at the stunned Xia Ning. Let's go, your brother will take you to a 5-star hotel today. Brother, you're rich? Xia Ning looked at Xia Pingan in confusion. Xia Pingan shrugged. Someone will pay for us. This is the dog beating stick you found? Yes, some mad dogs are unscrupulous, and dare to bare their teeth at people. The reason is that they lack society's beatings. They'll be fine after a couple of beatings. Xia Pingan patted Xia Ning's head. Let's go, we'll take a taxi there. Brother, does pretending to be a reporter have anything to do with having a gun license? Xia Ning was still a little confused and worried. You said it so smoothly just now, I almost believed you. It's okay, this is the benefit of the Committee of Order, you can fake it as you wish, is that so? Xia Ning looked at Xia Pingan in confusion, feeling that something was wrong. Xia Pingan brought Xia Ning out of the neighborhood, called a taxi, and went straight to the Guangzhou Hotel. Less than 10 minutes after Xia Pingan and the rest left, a few police cars drove to the neighborhood, and a team of fully armed special police officers jumped out of one of the explosion-proof vehicles. The special police officers rushed upstairs, and in a short while, they brought down the middle-aged man and woman wearing black balaclavas. Under the black balaclavas, the woman's hair was a mess, her face was swollen, and her whole body was trembling. She looked like she had lost her head out of fear. As for the man with the tattoos on his arm, his face was covered in blood, and a few of his front teeth were knocked out by the special police officers. His body was like a sieve, and he looked like a dead fish. Just now, the two of them were in the room, rummaging through Xia Pingan and Xia Ning's belongings. They were still discussing how to get rid of these things the next day, when the security door was suddenly broken from the outside, and a team of special police officers wearing balaclavas and black uniforms rushed in with guns. The tattooed man's brain short-circuited, and he didn't understand the situation. When he saw the team of men in black rush in, he wanted to grab a thermos bottle to defend himself. "Don't move!" One of the special police officers who rushed in roared, and smashed the tattooed man's face with the butt of his gun. Then, he kicked him in the stomach and he fell to the ground. "What are you doing?" The woman screamed and wanted to pull, but a special police officer rushed over and grabbed her by the neck and pressed her to the ground. The woman fell, and one side of her face hit the ground. Half of her face was numb, and it swelled up in the blink of an eye. Facing the black muzzle and violent machine, the two of them were scared silly, not knowing what had happened. Chapter 44. The taxi directly stopped beside the fountain sculpture at the entrance of Guangzhou Hotel. As soon as the taxi stopped, a hotel doorman in a black tuxedo opened the door with standard movement. After paying the fare, Xia Ning followed Xia Pingan out of the taxi and walked towards the lobby of the hotel. Looking at the magnificent lobby of the hotel, the well-dressed guests coming and going, and the luxury cars that were worth millions parked in the parking lot beside the hotel entrance, Xia Pingan looked calm. Xia Ning timidly pulled Xia Pingan's clothes and said with a guilty conscience, "Brother, isn't it a bit too extravagant for us to come here?" Guangzhou Hotel was a chain of 5-star international hotels. In a city like Xianghe, a 5-star hotel was already the top hotel. It doesn't matter. Didn't you say that the desserts and endless hot spring pool here were the best? You can try it later, Xia Pingan said to Xia Ning with a smile. I heard it from my classmate, Xia Ning said in a low voice. I didn't say that I wanted to come here. It must be very expensive. Your brother is here. You don't have to worry. I've never brought you here before. Today you can experience it. Seeing Xia Pingan's calm and steady face, Xia Ning felt inexplicably reassured and was no longer nervous. Since young, as long as Xia Pingan said this sentence, Xia Ning would know that it was true. Even if the sky fell, her brother would hold it up for her. Xia Pingan didn't bring Xia Ning here purely for enjoyment and status. He knew that a safe house of the Committee of Order in Xianghe City was in this hotel. Furthermore, the security of Guangzhou Hotel in the Fire Country was managed by the Empire Security Company, which was set up by the former summoners and elites of the National Committee of Order. It was the safest place to stay. Right now, Xianghe City was not very peaceful. Bringing Xia Ning to a place that he was not familiar with to settle down, Xia Pingan was not at ease. Xia Pingan had an identity card of a security guard of the Empire Security Company, which could be used when necessary. Just now, when he walked into the hotel with Xia Ning, because the two of them were dressed relatively casually and relaxed, just as they entered the hotel, Xia Pingan could already feel that the eyes of several security guards in suits in the hotel lobby had already fallen on him, and several hidden cameras around the lobby were already aimed at him and Xia Ning. After glancing at the security monitoring room of the hotel with his remote viewing ability, Xia Pingan saw his and Xia Ning's faces on several monitors in the security room. On the monitoring screen of the security room, 2 yellow data frames were following him and Xia Ning. After they arrived at the lobby, the yellow data frames suddenly turned red and issued an alarm. All the people in the security room became tense at once. Several security guards in the hotel lobby immediately quickened their pace and approached him from several directions without leaving a trace. Xia Pingan saw that his body had turned translucent on one of the monitoring screens in the security room. The outline of the gun under his armpit was immediately scanned and identified by the monitoring screen. The high-tech short-wave infrared camera and millimeter-wave radar could allow the security room to detect weapons and other dangerous items hidden on a person's body through his clothes in the lobby. At this moment, 2 or 3 seconds later, before the security guards in the lobby approached him, Xia Pingan's identity had been identified by the large data facial recognition system in the hotel's intranet. On the monitoring screen, the red data frames that were following Xia Pingan suddenly turned green. Furthermore, a special security identification code was displayed above Xia Pingan's head. The alarm in the security room was instantly lifted. The security guards in the lobby, who were walking towards Xia Pingan, received the reminder from their headset. After glancing at Xia Pingan from afar, they naturally turned to other places. In just a few seconds, an invasion and counter-invasion, a crisis and counter-crisis, a hotel security incident quietly occurred and was quietly lifted as if nothing had happened. The melodious piano music was still reverberating in the lobby. Other people in the lobby didn't notice anything. The spring water was gurgling. Xia Pingan was very satisfied with the hotel's response. There was nothing unusual in the lobby. Xia Ning, who was following Xia Pingan, didn't notice anything either. Xia Pingan had already brought Xia Ning to the front desk of the hotel. "Hello, sir, it's my pleasure to serve you. What can I do for you?" The sweet hotel front desk smiled and said to Xia Pingan, who was walking over, "Give me a suite with 2 bedrooms. Our luxury hot spring suite can meet your needs. There is also a hot spring bath in the room. The daily stay is 3,900 yuan. Do you need this? Okay, give me one. I'll book it for 2 days after this weekend." Xia Pingan nodded, took out his wallet, and handed over his ID card and a bank card. Hearing that it would cost 3,900 yuan for a night here, Xia Ning was shocked. Brother, you're crazy. Xia Ning pulled Xia Pinggan's clothes and whispered, It costs so much for a night here. It's too expensive. Xia Pinggan smiled and touched Xia Ning's head, but didn't explain anything. Soon, the procedures were completed. The hotel front desk with a sweet smile smiled and handed over Xia Pinggan's ID card, bank card, and 2 room cards with both hands. Sir, your room is 2388. The elevator is over there. Turn left after the elevator. Do you need me to send someone to take you up? Thank you, but it's okay. We'll go up ourselves. Xia Pinggan smiled and took those things. Then, he handed a room card to Xia Ning. Let's go. Brother, it's too expensive here. Staying here for a day is more expensive than our previous monthly rent. Xia Ning whispered as he walked. His face was full of pain and curiosity. Well, it's okay. You're here to celebrate your brother's new job. Xia Pinggan smiled. Anyway, someone will pay for us. Someone is in a hurry to send us money. We have to accept it. If everything goes well, we can buy a car next week. Then, we can move to a better place to stay. Xia Ning's brain was very flexible. When Xia Pinggan said that, she thought of her brother's call to the police. She understood a little, but she still felt that it was a little unbelievable. Her brother was too calm, as if he often faced such a rogue couple. The two just walked in the direction of the elevator. Before they reached the elevator door opened. Fang Lingshan walked out of the elevator and saw Xia Pinggan walking over with a young and beautiful girl. Fang Lingshan was a little surprised. She didn't expect to meet Xia Pinggan here. She looked at Xia Pinggan beside Xia Ning. She didn't know what to think, but her expression changed slightly. A man bringing a young and beautiful girl to a hotel. A man and a woman alone. What else could they be doing? As she was thinking about this, Fang Lingshan's gaze toward Xia Pinggan turned cold all of a sudden, with a hint of disdain and contempt. Ah, Fang Lingshan, what a coincidence! Xia Pinggan didn't expect to meet Fang Lingshan here, and was a little surprised. At this time, Fang Lingshan had exquisite makeup on. She was wearing a flame-red gorgeous evening gown. Half of her snowy shoulders were exposed. She was wearing shiny high heels and a string of diamond necklaces on her chest. She looked noble and elegant. When Fang Lingshan walked out of the elevator, she was like a magnet. Many men in the hall looked over. Is this how you spend your weekend? It's really special. Fang Lingshan looked coldly at Xia Pinggan and said sarcastically. Xia Ning was smart. She just saw the change in Fang Lingshan's expression and immediately understood. She smiled and took the initiative to greet Fang Lingshan. She stretched out her hand and said, This must be Lingshan. Hello, I'm Xia Ning, Xia Pinggan's sister. Nice to meet you. Xia Ning's words caught Fang Lingshan off guard. She looked at Xia Pinggan and then looked at Xia Ning. She found that the two of them looked similar. Thinking of her misunderstanding of Xia Pinggan's ridicule, Fang Lingshan suddenly felt a little hot. After calming down, she smiled apologetically at Xia Pinggan and shook hands with Xia Ning. Sorry, I was a little rude just now. I'm your brother's colleague. I know. I knew when I saw Sister Lingshan. My brother mentioned you to me before. Xia Ning's smile was cuter than the hotel's receptionist. It was sweet, affectionate, and pure. Your brother mentioned me before? Fang Lingshan was really surprised. She didn't expect that Xia Pinggan would introduce her to his sister. Women were always curious, especially when it was related to themselves. Fang Lingshan's tone unconsciously revealed an inquiring tone. Xia Pinggan glared at Xia Ning to warn him not to talk nonsense. However, Xia Ning deliberately turned a blind eye to it. My brother said that last time, he and Sister Lingshan went on a mission together to chase down the demon rat. Sister Lingshan has short hair, looks valiant, beautiful, capable, and has a good figure. My brother even mentioned it to me a total of 5 times. Is that right, brother? This bastard. Xia Pingan glared at Xia Ning. Fong Lingshan glanced at Xia Pingan. She really didn't expect that Xia Pingan would praise her like that. Xia Pingan, on the other hand, was slightly embarrassed. That awkward appearance, in the eyes of Fong Lingshan, was exceptionally interesting. Fong Lingshan was cold and aloof to others. However, when it came to Xia Ning, after chatting with Xia Ning for a while and hearing Xia Ning call her Sister Lingshan, Fong Lingshan behaved very cordially. It was as if she was a different person. Xia Ning took the opportunity to tell Fong Lingshan that there was a problem with the house that she and Xia Pingan were renting. Therefore, Xia Pingan brought her to the hotel to stay. Fong Lingshan came here because she wanted to attend a friend's cocktail party. Now that she had something to do, she had to leave. Xia Pingan knew why Fong Lingshan left. It was because the lighting time was coming. When Fong Lingshan left, Xia Ning actually asked for Fong Lingshan's phone number. Xia Pingan was speechless. The two of them watched as Fong Lingshan left the lobby. Outside the lobby, she got into a black Lamborghini and disappeared at the door in the blink of an eye. The two of them entered the elevator. Xia Ning began to wink at Xia Pingan. Brother, Sister Lingshan is not bad. You have another sister so quickly. Xia Pingan directly rewarded Xia Ning with a head bump. Chapter 45. Brother, the buffet in this hotel's restaurant is amazing. The ice cream and cake are delicious. But I have to go back to school tomorrow night. I won't be able to eat it for the next few days. I can't bear to leave. What should I do? The next morning, when Xia Pingan and Xia Ning came out of the hotel's buffet restaurant after breakfast, Xia Ning, whose belly was round from eating, had a new worry. As a foodie, the Guangzhou Hotel's buffet restaurant was like eunuch Ma discovering a new continent for Xia Ning. We can't afford to go back for the next few days. I transferred some money to your card. If you need clothes, you can buy them yourself. Xia Pingan said to Xia Ning. Brother, you reported the case yesterday. Can we get our money back? Don't worry. Xia Pingan replied confidently. If the reporters from Optics Valley News Agency lost their money and guns in Xianghe City, and the suspects were two rascals who only knew how to play tricks, the police in Xianghe City would be too incompetent if they couldn't solve the case. Therefore, this case had to be solved. They had to give the person who reported the case an explanation. At this moment, Xia Pingan's phone rang. Xia Pingan took out his phone and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. Xia Pingan answered the call. Hello. A female voice said. On the other side of the phone was a female voice. Is this Mr. Xia Pingan? Hello, I am Officer Qian Lan from the Xianghe City Police Station. My colleagues and I are currently in the lobby of the Guangzhou Hotel. We have already arrested the suspect who trespassed into your rented apartment yesterday. We have already interrogated him last night and have some result. Are you in the hotel lobby? Okay, I will come down now. After hanging up the phone, Xia Ning stuck out his tongue. Brother, the police called you? You don't have to worry about it. I might not have time to accompany you today. We'll be moving in a few days. There's a computer in the hotel. You can use the computer to look for a suitable place and find a house. After I'm done with this, I'll go out and take a look. When I come back tonight, we'll discuss again and see where we'll move to. All right. The two separated at the elevator. Xia Ning returned to his room, while Xia Pingan took the elevator to the hotel lobby. Just as he walked into the hotel lobby, he saw two people sitting on the sofa in the lounge area of the lobby. They were a man and a woman. Both of them were dressed in casual clothes and looked very capable. The man was in his 30s. He had a crew cut and wore a black jacket. His eyes were sharp. The woman was in her 20s. Her hair was tied up in a ponytail. She was very pretty and wore an exquisite casual suit. The two of them were chatting, but their gazes were faintly focused on the elevator. Xia Pingan directly walked over. Seeing Xia Pingan walking towards them, the two people glanced at Xia Pingan before standing up. "Mr. Xia Pingan, nice to meet you." The woman smiled and took the initiative to reach out her hand to Xia Pingan. She was enthusiastic and generous. "I am Qianlan, from the Public Relations Department of the Xianghe City Police Station. This is Lu Rui, the Deputy Captain of the Criminal Investigation Unit of the Xianghe City Police Station. The case you reported last night will be handled by the two of us." The Xianghe City Police Station had sent a beautiful police officer from the Public Relations Department and a deputy captain of the Criminal Investigation Unit to handle this matter. This was a gesture to show that the police attached great importance to Xia Pingan's case. Xia Pingan shook hands with the two police officers and then sat on the sofa in the lounge area. As soon as he sat on the sofa, Xia Pingan opened his mouth. "I'm sorry to have caused trouble for the police station yesterday. If it was a small matter, I wouldn't have called the police if I could handle it myself. However, the situation yesterday was special. My residence was illegally invaded and I lost a lot of property, paintings, and work guns. Moreover, I encountered a death threat. I had no choice but to leave with my sister first and ask the police for help." Qianlan and Lu Rui looked at each other. Seeing that Xia Pingan's attitude was calm, the two of them were actually relieved. Yesterday, the husband and wife were arrested and brought to the police station. After a round of interrogation, they were scared witless and confessed everything. The husband and wife were the new landlords. They did enter Xia Pingan's rented house without Xia Pingan's permission and found a locksmith to change the lock of the new house. Not to mention, if it was just changing the lock, it wouldn't be a big problem. More importantly, after the two of them entered Xia Pingan's rented house, their hands and feet were not clean. They even rummaged through the house, taking away all the paintings hanging in the house and the 20,000 yuan that they found in the house. The reason why the two were so unscrupulous was because they heard that Xia Pingan was just a car mechanic with a sister. He had no power or influence and was the kind of person who could be easily bullied. Therefore, the two deliberately wanted to bully him and take advantage of him. According to the couple's explanation, Xia Pingan's lost painting had been found. It was in their house. The money they took from the house was only about 20,000 yuan. As for the guns, they had never seen them from the beginning to the end. When they heard that Xia Pingan was a reporter from the Optics Valley News Agency and that he had reported the loss of 500,000 yuan, a gun, and bullets, the husband and wife were so scared that they peed their pants. They cried in the interrogation room and swore that they only took those things. They did not see the gun or anything else and only took less than 30,000 yuan. After the two of them were interrogated separately and repeatedly confirmed, the police officers of Xianghe City had a rough idea of what was going on. The couple had kicked an iron plate this time. Xia Pingan, who had reported the case, wanted to teach them a lesson. Xia Pingan's Optics Valley News Agency reporter card and Level 1 gun license had been verified by the police. They were real and there was no problem. Then, the rest could only be done according to the rules. The two of them were caught red-handed. Therefore, no matter what Xia Pingan reported missing or how much money he lost, they had to bear all the responsibility. The common tricks of people in society, such as unreasonable family connections and who they knew were a joke in the face of the iron fist and real procedures of the country's violence agency. We understand that Mr. Xia should have worked in a car repair shop in Xianghe City before. After a few people chatted, Lu Rui gently said from the side. Xia Pingan smiled and nodded. His expression did not change. Officer Lu is right. I did work in a car repair shop in Xianghe City before. I don't deny this. As for the relationship between my previous job and my current job, as well as the proof of the use of the gun and the source of income, Officer Lu, are you sure you want to know? If you really want to know, I can tell you. Looking at Xia Pingan's smile, Officer Lu felt a chill in his heart and quickly shook his head. After being in this line for a long time, Officer Lu knew very well that it might not be a blessing to know too much. What he said just now was just an indirect way of reminding Xia Pingan to stop. The gun case was pressing on the Xianghe City Police Department's head. The higher-ups also had some headaches and did not want to make it big. Qian Qin glanced at Lu Rui and smiled. "We respect your current job very much, Mr. Xia, but we will not interfere with the specific work content of Mr. Xia. Of course, we do not need our help. The problem now is that Mr. Xia's lost property and gun have not been found, but we have already captured and controlled the 2 suspects. There is a slight discrepancy between Mr. Xia's lost property and gun and their confessions, but I think it's not a big problem. It will probably only take a little time to find it. What do you think, Mr. Xia?" "Yes, I also think that this matter is not a big problem. As long as we control the people, we can slowly find the other things." After having a tacit understanding with each other, Qian Lan and Lu Rui chatted with Xia Pingan for a while. Then, they went through the routine procedure and asked Xia Pingan to go to the police station to personally identify the suspects. Their car was parked outside. Xia Pingan followed them out of the lobby and took a car to the Xianghe City Police Station. In a room in the police station, through the one-way glass in the room, Xia Pingan once again saw the man and woman with the tattoos on his arms last night. The scars on the man's face had not healed yet. His nose was collapsed, and his teeth were cracked. Several of his front teeth had fallen out, and his face was terrible. Half of the woman's face was swollen, and her face was pale. Her eyebrows were lowered, and her eyes were sunken. The 2 of them were handcuffed and wearing prison uniforms. They were like weak chickens that had been fished out of a hot soup pot. They were escorted by several police officers to the identification room. They stood by the wall with high stripes and stood facing the one-way glass in a panic. Xia Pingan did not sympathize with the 2 of them. His principle of doing things was to be better when he met good people and worse when he met evil. Seeing that the 2 of them were not doing well, and that they would definitely not be doing well for a long time in the future, Xia Pingan was relieved and comforted. He nodded to Qian Lan and Lu Rui beside him. "That's right, it's the 2 of them." Chapter 46. After recognizing the person, Xia Pingan got the key to his rental house again. He refused Qian Lan and Lu Rui to send him back to the hotel. He walked out of the police station and went to a nearby bus stop. After waiting for a while, he saw the bus number 27 arrive. Xia Pingan got on the bus and left. After such a thing happened, there was no way to stay in the rental house anymore. He and Xia Ning were going to move soon. However, before moving, he needed to confirm where he was going to move to. Since it was the weekend and he had time, Xia Pingan was going to take the bus and wander around the city a few times to see where it was more suitable. After confirming the general area and the neighborhood he wanted to live in, he would look for an agent. This way, he would have a target and the efficiency of finding a new house would be higher. It was the weekend and there were no office workers, so there were not many people on the bus. Xia Pingan took the bus and wandered around Xianghe City. When he saw a suitable neighborhood, he got off the bus and walked around the neighborhood to understand the surrounding environment. When he saw a suitable neighborhood, he first memorized the name of the neighborhood and left it for comparison later. Unknowingly, a morning and most of the afternoon passed. Xia Pingan spent most of the day looking at more than 10 neighborhoods in Xianghe City. At around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Xia Pingan, who had just finished looking at a neighborhood, came to the bus stop outside the neighborhood and got on the bus number 98. This bus was heading to the northern suburbs of Xianghe City. There were also several neighborhoods in the northern suburbs, and it was relatively close to Xianing's school. Xia Pingan also wanted to take a look and understand it on the way. When he got on the bus, there were still many empty seats. Xia Pingan walked to the middle of the bus and found a seat to sit down. In front of Xia Pingan sat a young couple. Behind him sat two aunties who were preparing to go on an outing. On the left sat a middle school student in a school uniform. In front of him were a housewife, an elderly couple, and a middle-aged man with a briefcase. On the bus, the two aunties at the back were chatting while the couple at the front was whispering sweet nothings to each other. The man was twirling the woman's hair with his fingers and whispering into her ear from time to time. The others were looking down at their phones numbly. The TV on the bus was still broadcasting the murder case at Lingshire Building yesterday. In just over 10 minutes, Gao Qingshan's arrest warrant had appeared twice on the bus TV news program. However, no one on the bus cared about it. Xia Pingan took out his phone and glanced at it. The Committee of Orders implanted program hadn't reported anything about Gao Qingshan's situation, nor had there been any other mission notifications. This meant that Fang Lingshan and the others hadn't noticed anything strange when they lit up the lights last night. However, Xia Ning had just posted on his WeChat moment. There were 3 photos in his WeChat moment. One was a beautiful selfie of himself in the endless hot spring pool of Guangzhou Hotel last night. Another was a vanilla ice cream and a small cake in the hotel's buffet restaurant. The last photo was of Xia Pingan's back in the hotel lobby. The caption in his WeChat moments read, "A single man who leaves his sister at Guangzhou Hotel when he's busy. He doesn't go to the hot spring, swim, or eat ice cream and small cake. I don't even know what to say. You're so busy every day, but I don't see you bringing your sister-in-law home." It had to be said that Xia Ning's WeChat moments had already grasped the essence of Versailles literature. Anyone who saw Xia Ning's WeChat moments would probably have 3 judgments in their heart. From the looks of his sister, Xia Ning, they could roughly infer that Xia Pingan's looks wouldn't be bad. To be able to leave his sister at Guangzhou Hotel meant that Xia Pingan wasn't lacking in money. At the very least, he had a decent income. Not going to the hot spring, not swimming, not eating ice cream and small cakes, and not bringing his sister-in-law home, meant that Xia Pingan was a decent, young, and straight man who was immersed in his work and career. As for the photo of Xia Pingan's back in the hotel lobby, he was young, tall, strong, and had a hint of mystery. Seeing that Xia Ning was advertising his girlfriend, Xia Pingan bitterly smiled. He sent a hammer-smashing sticker to Xia Ning's WeChat moment. Xia Ning immediately replied with a funny face. Xia Pingan smiled slightly. The bus passed by a few stations. When it arrived at the entrance of a park, the 2 aunties sitting behind Xia Pingan agreed to get off the bus together. A middle-aged woman got on the bus. After a few minutes, the bus arrived at another station. The young couple got off the bus and 4 people got on the bus at the same time. A young, middle-aged couple brought along a 7 or 8-year-old boy and an old man. The old man was wearing a blue sweater and looked to be in his 60s. He wore a gray woolen hat and carried several shopping bags from the supermarket in his hands. The shopping bags were filled with things like pork ribs, potatoes, and celery. The middle-aged couple brought the little boy and sat in the 2 rows of empty seats in front. The old man carrying the shopping bags walked towards the back of the bus. It seemed that he wanted to sit in the seat of the young couple who had just left. Anyone who saw the old man would think that he was an old man who went to the supermarket to buy groceries on the weekend. They wouldn't pay much attention to him. Xia Pingan didn't pay much attention to him at first. He just glanced at the old man and then moved his gaze away. However, when the old man came closer to Xia Pingan, the space between Xia Pingan's eyebrows suddenly jumped. The soul calming banner in the secret altar seemed to have sensed something and gently fluttered. This was the first time that Xia Pingan had encountered such a situation. The soul-calming banner floating on the white jade relief in the secret altar seemed to have been attracted by something and moved without any wind. The only thing that could make the soul-calming banner react was a desecrated corpse. Thinking of the introduction of the soul-calming banner that he had seen, Xia Pingan was shocked. The old man was already dead. He was a walking corpse. Xia Pingan lowered his head. Like the others in the bus, he swiped his phone idly, but his heart was already in turmoil. Yesterday, they were still looking for the Demon Eyes member who had fused with the brain-eating insect and the living corpse controlled by the brain-eating insect. They found nothing yesterday, but they didn't expect to meet one today. Since there was a living corpse here, it meant that Gao Qingshan or the Demon Eyes member was still in Xianghe City. Gua hadn't been found yet, but Ting had. F***ck, what kind of luck is this? He and Mo Yanshao had been busy for half a day yesterday and didn't get anything. They thought that Gao Qingshan might have left Xianghe City. Mo Yanshao and the others didn't find anything unusual when they came out to light the lamps last night. I went to the police station and took the bus in Xianghe City for a day. I actually met one on the bus? This really matched the saying, you can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by sheer luck. The other passengers on the bus didn't notice anything. They didn't notice that there was a moving corpse sitting on the bus and a summoner sitting on the bus. Everything was so horrifying. After figuring out the situation, Xia Pingan remained calm and played with his phone with his head down. He didn't act rashly. After a few more stops, the 98 bus arrived at the outskirts of the city. The old man with the shopping bag got off the bus. The place where the old man got off was a small town on the outskirts of the city. There was a gas station on the side of the road, a bus stop, and a road leading to the town not far away. In order to avoid alerting the enemy, Xia Pingan didn't get off the car at this stop. He just activated his long-range vision ability. From a few hundred meters in the air, he was like a goshawk, taking in the panoramic view of the situation on the ground from top to bottom. As long as he didn't get too close and observed from a close distance, like how he observed Mo Yanshao previously, even if the person being observed also had the remote vision ability, it would be difficult to sense the gaze of others who had the remote vision ability from this angle and height. A few minutes later, a kilometer away, the bus arrived at another stop. Xia Pingan got off the bus and stared at the old man with his remote vision ability. He walked quickly to the next bus stop and took out his phone. He immediately reported the situation to the Xianghe City National Committee of Order. Hello. A few seconds later, Mo Yanshao's voice came from the phone. I found a living corpse host that might be controlled by a brain-eating insect. Xia Pingan said directly. Where did you find it? What's the situation now? Mo Yanshao's voice suddenly rose a few octaves. He seemed to be in high spirits. Chapter 47. For Xianghe City's National Committee of Order, the current priority after everyone's meeting yesterday was to determine whether the Demon Eyes member who had fused with the man-eating bugs was still in Xianghe City. Xia Pingan did not expect to make an important discovery today. Since the host of the brain-eating bugs was in Xianghe City, it meant that the main body of the brain-eating bugs, Alpine Green, was also hiding in Xianghe City. It was no wonder that Mo Yanshao was a little excited. I found the target by chance when I was on the bus. The target is still moving. I'm following the target, and the other party hasn't noticed that I'm following him yet. There might be more than one living corpse controlled by the man-eating bugs, and the Demon Eyes member might be nearby. It's very dangerous. Don't act alone. Remember, don't act alone. Mo Yanshao reminded him solemnly on the other end of the phone. Don't come into contact with the target first. Just monitor. We'll locate your phone and rush over immediately. Of course, Xia Pingan would not fight the Demon Eyes member alone. Wouldn't he be a fool to fight one-on-one when he could whistle for help? Okay, I understand. The target is still moving. It's about 1,000 meters away from my phone. I'll continue to monitor. After ending the call, Xia Pingan put away his phone and walked quickly on the road. A few minutes later, under the gaze of Xia Pinggan's remote vision, he saw the old man walk to a small courtyard on the roadside of the town more than 200 meters away from the bus stop. There were a few trees planted in the courtyard, and there was a small two-story building with a single door. Most of the residents in this town lived in small independent buildings with courtyards. In order to avoid alerting the enemy, Xia Pinggan did not use his remote vision to invade the house to investigate. Instead, he monitored the courtyard from outside. More than 10 minutes later, Xia Pinggan came to a water bar in the town more than 200 meters away from the small building. He stared at the small building from a distance, ordered a glass of juice, and then took a few photos to Mo Yanxiao and sent them. After a few minutes, the lights in the bar suddenly turned off and then turned on again. The light bulb flickered a few times. Is there something wrong with the town's transformer again? The owner of the bar, who was wiping the bar, looked up at the flashing light bulb and muttered, "Boss, does this happen often?" Xia Pinggan asked. "Not often. It's just that in the past 6 months, the town's circuit has been unstable occasionally. I heard that the transformer is a little old," the boss replied. Xia Pinggan nodded. 20 minutes later, the door of the bar was pushed open. Li Yunzhou walked in wearing a hat and a blue maintenance uniform of an electricity company. After buying a bottle of drink, he threw a glance at Xia Pinggan and raised his eyebrows at Xia Pinggan. After Li Yunzhou walked out of the bar, Xia Pinggan followed him out. After turning into the shade of a tree by the roadside, Xia Pinggan saw 2 yellow repair vehicles from the electricity company parked by the roadside. An escalator extended from one of the repair vehicles. On the escalator, 2 workers were inspecting the wires and transformers on 2 electric poles. There was another repair vehicle parked by the side. Li Yunzhou got on the vehicle from the back door. Seeing that no one was paying attention, Xia Pinggan also got on the vehicle. The vehicle looked like an electricity company's repair vehicle from the outside, but there was something else inside. Mo Yanxiao, Tu Polu, and Li Yunzhou, who were wearing the electricity company's uniform, were in the vehicle. The car was filled with high-tech and complex electronic and monitoring equipment. The small courtyard as the target had been completely monitored. What's the situation now? Who's the living corpse controlled by the brain-eating insect? Mo Yanxiao asked directly when he saw Xia Pinggan enter the vehicle. I found that the living corpse controlled by the brain-eating insect is an old man. After the old man entered the courtyard, he didn't come out. I didn't want to alert the enemy, so I didn't use my ability to investigate the situation inside. Xia Pinggan replied. You handled it correctly. Young Master Moyan praised. That member of the Demon Eyes has fused with a brain-eating insect, so his senses are very sharp. Moreover, we're not sure what kind of ability he had before. If that member of the Demon Eyes also happens to have the remote viewing ability and is hiding in that room, you might be discovered if you use your remote viewing ability to observe at close range. Xia Pinggan nodded. He thought so too. Tu Polu stretched out his hand and patted Xia Pinggan's shoulder. Not bad. You've made a contribution. Yesterday we were still scratching our heads in the meeting. We didn't know if the Demon Eyes member was still hiding in Xianghe City. I didn't expect you to find a target today. This means that the Demon Eyes member is still in Xianghe City. Even if he's not in that courtyard, we can still follow the clues and find the Demon Eyes member. Li Yunzhou, on the other hand, looked at Xia Pinggan with a strange expression. He rubbed his chin with his hand and said, I say, your luck is too good. You can even meet your target on the bus. Why don't I have such good luck? It's not just one bus. I've taken countless buses today and wandered around the city all day. Boy, I didn't expect you to not rest on the weekend and still look for the Demon Eyes member alone. Good job. Tu Polu looked at Xia Pinggan with approval. Ahem, I'm not looking for the Demon Eyes member. I want to find a suitable rental house. I had a falling out with the landlord of the house I rented earlier, so I was probably kicked out by the landlord and have to find a place to move. Xia Pingan spread his hands and told the truth. It was a complete accident that I met the living corpse. Tu Polu and Li Yunzhou were immediately speechless. The two of them did not know much about Xia Pingan's family situation. Only Mo Yanxiao had been to Xia Pingan's place and knew a little about it. Boss, Xia Pingan is too pitiful. He actually wants to rent a house. You should apply for some extra work for him and buy a big villa in Xianghe City in minute. How much money can it cost? What kind of house can he rent? If those guys from the provincial department knew that a summoner from the National Committee of Order in Xianghe City is so poor that he needs to rent a house, they would laugh their heads off. This will affect our image, Li Yunzhou said to Mo Yanxiao. Tu Polu also looked at Xia Pingan sympathetically and patted Xia Pingan's shoulder with his big hand again. I didn't expect to know a summoner as poor as you. I can brag to others in the future. Xia Pingan was also speechless. He was just renting a house. It was very normal. Was there a need to be so poor and exaggerated? Why did they make it sound like he was worse off than a beggar? Mo Yanxiao tapped on the keyboard in front of him a few times and an old man's photo and household registration information appeared on the car's monitor. Is this the old man you've been keeping an eye on? Xia Pingan glanced at the photo and household registration information and nodded. Yes, it's him. On the household registration information, the old man's name was Sun Defeng. He was an old man who lived alone and did not have any children by his side. The Committee of Order was like a terrifying national machine. When it was seriously operating, its efficiency was terrifying. In just a few minutes, the electricity and water consumption data of Elder Sun Defeng's place for the past year, shopping records, and roadside surveillance data were all retrieved and analyzed. From the results of the analysis, Elder Sun Defeng was the only one living in that house. There was no one else. Of course, in the current situation, because of the lag and fragmentation of the data analysis, it was impossible to tell from the data whether there was anyone else hiding in Elder Sun Defeng's house. So soon, two different sets of action plans were drawn up. Operation Plan Number 1. After a while, the employees of the electric power company would enter the houses of the residents in the town to check the circuits. At that time, Mo Yanxiao, Tu Polu, and Li Yunzhou would pretend to be employees of the electric power company and enter Elder Sun Defeng's house to check and confirm. After the three of them entered, if they found that the Demon Eyes member was hiding in Elder Sun Defeng's house, then the three of them would immediately take action to kill the Demon Eyes member in Elder Sun Defeng's house without causing too much of an impact. Xia Pingan, Chao Xinghua, and Qing, and Fang Lingshan would hide around the house and carry out the first circle of control to prevent the Demon Eyes member from escaping. If the three of them found that the Demon Eyes member was not in Elder Sun Defeng's house after entering, then the three of them would withdraw and carry out Operation Plan Number 2. Operation Plan Number 2 was that the Special Operations Department would monitor Elder Sun Defeng on the spot and wait for him to come into contact with the Demon Eyes member. Man-eating insects were terrifying, but they had a characteristic. There had to be close contact between the main body and the host body every 9 days at most. Otherwise, the host body might lose control. Therefore, as long as the Special Operations Department kept an eye on Elder Sun Defeng, they would definitely be able to track down the Demon Eyes member who was still hiding in Xianghe City from the people he came into contact with and eliminate this huge hidden danger to social order. After dark, the repairmen of the electric power company began to enter the houses of the residents of the town to check the circuits. Xia Pingan, who was wearing a headset, also left the electric power repair vehicle and came to the shade of a tree by the roadside 80 meters away from Elder Sun Defeng's house to hide. Chao Xinghua and Qing and the others also entered their respective positions. Thousands of meters in the sky, a drone hovered in the sky, completely locking onto the streets and houses of the town below. Further away were the two commando teams and snipers who had already entered their battle positions. Two falcons hovered in the sky further away, ready to give chase. The inescapable net had been set up, and the operation began. Mo Yanxiao, Tu Pulu, and Li Yunzhou wore hats and the uniform of the Electric Power Company as they got out of the vehicle with toolboxes. The three of them began to inspect the houses of Elder Sun Defeng's two neighbors. After a while, the three of them arrived outside Elder Sun Defeng's yard and rang the doorbell. After waiting for a while, the elder came out of the house and opened the door. The three of them explained their intentions and then entered Elder Sun Defeng's house together. The expected chaos and conflict did not happen. The three of them came out in less than 5 minutes after entering the house. Then, Xia Pingan heard Mo Yanxiao's voice in his headset. All teams, pay attention. The primary target is not inside. Switch to plan number 2 and monitor the place closely. Night fell completely. The Electric Power Company's vehicles and personnel withdrew, and the town's electric circuit and power supply were restored to stability. The lights of the town and the city complemented each other. Meanwhile, a small building for rent about 100 meters away from Elder Sun Defeng's house also welcomed a new tenant. The hidden surveillance equipment outside Elder Sun Defeng's house had been set up. A simple bronze lamp quietly lit up in the room. The Special Operations Division began to work. Xia Pingan, who had just eaten a bowl of instant food and was staring at the surveillance footage in the room, received a call from Xia Ning. Xia Ning said over the phone that she had found a few alternative places and wanted to discuss it with Xia Pingan. The unit suddenly had to work overtime, so I won't be coming back tonight. I walked around the city today and found a few alternative places. After this busy period, let's go look at the houses again. We can consider renting one that's closer to your school. It'll be convenient for you to go home too. Xia Pingan said to Xia Ning apologetically over the phone. Because Xia Pingan's Requiem banner could completely restrain the host body of the brain-eating insect, Xia Pingan's weekend off was over. He had no choice but to work overtime in advance and join the surveillance team to prepare for any unexpected situations. Xia Pingan hung up the phone and realized that the others in the room were looking at him sympathetically. Director, let's get Xia Pingan a job that can earn some extra money. A job that requires the use of the Requiem banner can be done once. It's not expensive to buy a villa. Even Enching said to Mo Yanxiao. Was it very profitable for summoners to take jobs? Buying villas at the drop of a hat. Xia Pingan had some doubts in his heart. Xia Pingan just became a summoner. There's still a long way to go. There's no such thing as a poor summoner. Don't worry, he's no exception, Mo Yanxiao said lightly. Xia Pingan's poverty was not an act. It was real. Last time, he only gave Xia Pingan tens of thousands of yuan and Xia Pingan was tricked into chasing after the devil rats. However, last time, Xia Pingan was tricked by that bastard Yen Duo into carrying out a mission in the Death Corner arena. The extra reward for that mission should be quite good. He would know in a few days when he received his salary. Chapter 48. From a human's point of view, Elder Sun Defeng was already dead. Now, he was just a walking corpse without any self-consciousness, just the host body of a brain-eating insect. But from a biological point of view, he was not completely dead because his body still had vital signs and could still metabolize. From the Committee of Orders' point of view and the legal point of view of this era, he was indeed dead. He was a special case of death due to parasitic death by space-invading creatures. He could be treated as a living corpse of a brain-eating insect. It was just that the people in the town did not know that Sun Defeng was dead. Every morning, Xia Pingan watched the living corpse leave his yard and go to the town's street garden to exercise with the town's old people. He followed behind the aunties who were dancing in the square and moved his hands and legs to exercise his body. Looking at a living corpse living in the middle of the crowd exercising and square dancing, this feeling was very frightening, but the other people around Sun Defeng did not notice his abnormality. The seemingly quiet city did not lack these strange things that could make people's eyes pop out. All the actions of the living corpse were not autonomous but were remotely controlled by the brain-eating insect. Because Elder Sun Defeng lived alone, the result of the Special Operations Division's analysis was that the member of the Demon's Eye who had fused with the brain-eating insect would not take the initiative to come into contact with Elder Sun Defeng's residence. It would be too eye-catching. The most likely possibility was that the member of the Demon's Eye would control Elder Sun Defeng's time out and find opportunities to contact Elder Sun Defeng in public. This way, they could find the main body of the brain-eating insect according to Elder Sun Defeng's pattern of activity. The interval between the main body of the brain-eating insect and the host body could not exceed 9 days, and each close contact should be at least 5 minutes. There also needed to be obvious physical contact. Elder Sun Defeng's life was very regular. He went to exercise every morning, went to the suburban park every 3 days, and went to the supermarket in the city every 4 days. He usually spent most of his time in the town. Speaking of the suburban park, according to the information previously obtained by the Special Operations Division, one of the missing people who were dismembered and sacrificed in the cold storage went missing near the suburban park. The tracks of the two coincided with each other. After 2 days of observation, Xia Pingan discovered that the living corpse controlled by the brain-eating insect would carry a small bottle of ether and a handkerchief with it every time it went out. It was used to kidnap people when they were unprepared. Not many people would be on guard against an old man who was strolling in a suburban park. However, this old man was a living corpse controlled by a brain-eating insect. It was normal for the host to actively search for food and sacrificial items. This speculation was frightening, but it was close to the truth. After ruling out those old ladies and old men who did exercise and square dance together with Elder Sun Defeng one by one, the focus of monitoring Elder Sun Defeng was on his trips to the suburban park every 3 days and the supermarket in the city every 4 days. During Elder Sun Defeng's 2 outings, anyone who had been in contact with Elder Sun Defeng alone for more than 5 minutes and had obvious physical contact with him would be a key target. Because of Xia Pingan's remote viewing ability, the heavy responsibility of monitoring Elder Sun Defeng when he went out fell on Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan did not need anyone to follow him to monitor Elder Sun Defeng. He only needed to watch from a few hundred meters away with his remote viewing ability. Xia Pingan watched Elder Sun Defeng for 4 days and watched him go to the town to exercise 4 times, play mahjong and drink tea 3 times, and go to the suburban park once. During this period, Elder Sun Defeng came into contact with some people, but those people were not members of the Demon Eyes. On Wednesday, 4 days had passed since Elder Sun Defeng last went to the supermarket. On this afternoon, Elder Sun Defeng took the bus to the supermarket. Li Yunzhou drove a very ordinary SUV and followed behind the bus. Xia Pingan sat in Li Yunzhou's car. He was not on the bus, but he was paying attention to every move on the bus. Behind Li Yunzhou's car was a surveillance vehicle disguised as a city transport bus that Tu Polu and Qing and the others were riding. There were not many people on the bus, and there were people coming and going. Fortunately, no one on the bus wanted to have any prolonged physical contact with an old man, so it was not difficult to monitor the bus. After 7 or 8 stops, the bus finally entered the crowded downtown area of Xianghe City. Elder Sun Defeng got off here, and Xia Pingan also got off behind him. The host has already gotten off and is walking toward the supermarket. I'm following behind the host, more than 100 meters away. On the bus just now, I didn't find anyone who had physical contact with the host. Xia Pingan reported in a low voice as he shuttled through the crowd, maintaining contact with Mo Yenshao and the others at all times. Xia Pingan's neck was near the back of his ear, and there was a small piece of bionic tape the same color as his skin. If one did not touch it with their hands, they would not be able to discover it. There was a small communication device in the bionic tape that could collect and transmit sound through the vibration of the skin. The communication device was connected to Xia Pinggan's cell phone, and the signal was transmitted to the surveillance vehicle through the cell phone. It was very convenient. The supermarket is very crowded, and it's in the public area of the city. We didn't find any close contact between the host and the Demon Eyes members a few days ago. Today is the 4th day we've been monitoring the host. It's very important and we have to be careful. If the interval between contact between the host and the living corpse is 8 days, today is the most likely day to find the target. And Qing's gentle voice sounded in his ear. Understood. Seeing that the old man had already gone down the escalator of the supermarket in front of him, Xia Pinggan walked through the crowd, ran to the entrance of the elevator on the other side, went up the elevator, and ended the call. The supermarket was in the downtown area, on the 2nd floor of the shopping center. Even during the day there were many people. In such a place, an old man shopping would not attract attention at all, and at the same time, the difficulty of monitoring him would greatly increase. Xia Pinggan did not dare to relax. Even though he was not by the old man's side, his remote vision ability was always staring at the old man. The old man did not enter the supermarket first. Instead, he continued upstairs to the shopping mall on the 3rd floor and walked around. This abnormal behavior immediately attracted Xia Pinggan's attention. Xia Pinggan did not follow him into the shopping mall on the 3rd floor. Instead, he wandered around a cosmetics counter outside the mall, pretending to want to choose cosmetics for his girlfriend. The host has entered the shopping mall on the 3rd floor. Xia Pinggan immediately reported, "There are fewer people in the shopping mall on the 3rd floor, so it's easy to be tracked. I'm outside the shopping mall on the 3rd floor. The host's behavior is a bit strange. It seems like he's repeatedly checking if he's being followed. Be careful, do not get too close. The host's actions are controlled by the host. This might be the host confirming if he's being followed. The host might return to the supermarket again." Understood. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, the old man did not have any physical contact with anyone in the shopping mall on the 3rd floor. He took the escalator down from the 3rd floor and entered the supermarket on the 2nd floor. Xia Pinggan changed to a different spot on the 3rd floor. He did not follow him into the supermarket. Li Yunzhou had already entered the supermarket and was waiting to take over the monitoring. Xia Pinggan used his remote vision ability to monitor from the outside. The supermarket was a key area, so the two of them were monitoring it together. The old man bought some groceries in the supermarket. Other than having some indirect physical contact with the salesperson, he did not do anything out of the ordinary. The salesperson was only with the old man for less than 3 minutes, which was not enough to satisfy the condition of the brain-eating worm's main body and host body. The old man carried the groceries and left the store. He then paid the bill and left the supermarket. There was nothing out of the ordinary. Xia Pinggan was confused. Was the old man's shopping trip just a normal activity? But the old man's behavior on the 3rd floor was obviously strange. Just when the old man came out of the supermarket and Xia Pinggan thought that he would leave, the old man turned half a circle and came to the entrance of the shopping center from the supermarket's exit. He put the groceries he bought into the locker and then walked to the men's bathroom on the 2nd floor of the shopping center. Bathroom, why didn't I think of that? Xia Pinggan reacted instantly. However, he was not agitated. He used his remote vision ability to follow the old man to the men's bathroom. In the men's bathroom, there was a row of independent cubicles. Xia Pinggan saw the old man enter the men's bathroom and came to an independent cubicle. After closing the door, the old man suddenly knelt on the ground. Under the cubicle next to him, a hand quietly reached out. The old man knelt on the ground. His body twisted and wriggled. He stuck out his tongue like a snake and gently licked the hand that reached over. People who did not know what was going on would think that this was some kind of perverted behavior. They would not think that this was how the host of the brain-eating host contacted its host. This scene was too disgusting, horrifying and painful to the eyes. Xia Pingan, who saw this scene, was shocked. He was worried that he would be sensed, so he immediately shifted his view from the old man kneeling on the ground to the long glass in the bathroom. Using the remote, indirect view, he observed the situation in the bathroom through the mirror in the bathroom. The remote vision abilities, indirect vision, was the least likely to be discovered by others. After about 6 or 7 minutes, the sound of flushing came from the cubicle next to the old man. The door of the cubicle opened. A well-dressed man in a gray suit and a blue shirt, in his 50s, who looked like a successful person, walked out of the cubicle with a brown briefcase under his arm. He walked to the sink, washed his hands, and looked at himself in the mirror. The man in the mirror had nothing special about his face. However, his slightly gloomy eyes had a hint of Gao Qingshan's shadow. Finally, "I've locked on to you." Xia Pingan calmed his mind and immediately reported, "The Demon Eyes member who has fused with the brain-eating host's body has locked onto him. He's walking out of the bathroom on the west side of the second floor of the shopping center. It's a man. He's wearing a gray suit and a blue shirt with a brown briefcase under his arm. He's walking toward the 4th elevator of the shopping center. Found him." Mo Yenshao's voice came from the headset. "We've connected to the surveillance system in the shopping center. We've confirmed the target you mentioned." And Qing's voice came. A few minutes later, the targeted Demon Eyes member drove out of the parking lot of the shopping center in a car. He did not know that he had been locked onto. Outside, the Special Operations Division and a high-altitude drone had locked onto the man's car. The Committee of Order had mobilized the public safety and road surveillance systems of the entire Xianghe city to firmly lock onto the man. Xia Pingan also quietly handed over the mission target. From this moment on, the old man's body, which had been exposed and posed a low threat, would be tracked and controlled by another quick reaction team of the Committee of Order. When Xia Pingan and the others took the initiative to attack the brain-eating host, they would eliminate it. Xia Pingan met up with the other members of the Special Operations Division and firmly locked onto the Demon Eyes member who had fused with the brain-eating host's body. The Demon Eyes member was a homicidal maniac with special abilities. Judging from the corpses in the cold storage, this was not the first time this person had made a sacrifice. The Special Operations Division could not let the Demon Eyes member escape again. Chapter 49. The night was dark, and the bright moon in the sky had gradually become round, hanging brightly in the sky. Most people in Xianghe City had already entered deep sleep. On the side of the road in the western suburbs of Xianghe City, an inconspicuous moving truck was parked on the side of the road near a residential area. Like other moving vehicles, the moving truck was tightly packed, and there was nothing unusual about it. On the truck's compartment was an advertising phone number of a famous moving company in Xianghe City. Many people had to look at the time of day to move, and they would only start moving at the right time, so it was not unusual for them to move in the middle of the night. Anyone who saw this car would think that it was a moving vehicle for a family in the residential area. In the truck's compartment, the 7 people from the Special Operations Division of the Xianghe City Committee of Order had all gathered. There was expensive and complicated electronic equipment in the truck's compartment. At this moment, on a huge electronic display in the compartment, the frontal photos of 2 middle-aged men appeared on the left and right sides of the electronic display. The photo that appeared on the left was of Gao Qingshan, who was wanted, and the photo that appeared on the right was of the Demon Eyes member that Xia Pingan had locked onto today. The latter's name was Miss Zhao, and she was the owner and legal person of Xianghe City's Miss Natural Resources Regeneration Company. To put it bluntly, she was the owner of a company that specialized in collecting scrap copper and iron. On the side of the road more than 200 meters away from this car was the factory area of Xianghe City's Miss Natural Resources Regeneration Company. The appearances of the two people on the display were completely different, but their gloomy gazes were exactly the same. After the analysis and comparison of the past data of Gao Qingshan and Miss Zhao by the Information Center, the real Miss Zhao is probably dead. The Miss Zhao we see now is Gao Qingshan's appearance after fusing with the brain-eating insect. This is his backup identity in Xianghe City, so when we act later, our target will be Miss Zhao. Mo Yinshao's voice sounded in the car. He was holding a laser pointer in his hand and making the final arrangements. On the electronic display, another map appeared. This is a map of the factory area of Xianghe City's 1000 Gold Natural Resources Regeneration Company. After the investigation during the day, there are 11 workers in the factory area. Previously, there were many missing people in Xianghe City, and the scope was wide. Their whereabouts were hidden, and it was difficult to detect. They changed their transportation means many times. This arrangement can't be done with just the Demon's Eye member who has fused with the brain-eating insect and a few hosts. Therefore, what we can be sure of is that the 11 workers in the factory should all be the hosts of brain-eating insects. Even if they are not hosts, they are lackeys of the Demon Eye. Those people have been deeply involved in the previous disappearance and murder cases. These hosts will be dealt with together when we take action later. Mo Yanshao looked at Xia Pingan, pointed at an area in the factory area with the laser pointer, and gave Xia Pingan the mission. You have the Requiem flag. When we take action later, I'll hand over all these hosts to you. These hosts live in this dormitory building in the factory area. After you deal with these hosts, guard this position and block the possible escape route of the Demon Eye member from the factory area. The others' gazes also fell on Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan nodded calmly. Old Chao, you and Lingshan will block here. This is the road between the factory area and the residential area. No matter what happens in the factory area, your mission is to ensure that nothing rushes from the factory area to the residential area and causes harm to the people in the residential area. Chao Xinghua and Fang Lingshan nodded. And Qing, you guard here and command the other two assault teams on the periphery. Don't let any fish escape from this operation. And Qing also nodded. Old Tu, Li Yunzhou, and I will be in charge of the frontal assault. We will enter the small building of the Demon Eye member who has fused with the brain-eating insect and eliminate the target. Mo Yinshao's gaze swept across everyone's faces. Is everyone clear? Everyone nodded in agreement. Mo Yinshao looked at his watch and said firmly, You have 1 minute to check your equipment and then take action. Xia Pingan also checked the equipment on his body. In fact, he didn't bring much. He only had his Manuel MR98, 36 pure silver bullets, a dagger and the Black Cobra's steel whip. Pistols, daggers, steel whips, and bullets were all mounted on the special tactical cape on his body. The tactical cape looked like a well-tailored vest that was bulletproof and stab-proof. It didn't look cumbersome at all. The tactical cape was specially made for Xia Pingan by Lao Zhou. The waist of the tactical cape just happened to have a leather cover to store the Black Cobra steel whip. With a jacket and a suit on top of the tactical cape, even if he attended a dinner party, no one would notice anything unusual. Is there a problem with the use of the Requiem flag? Mo Yanshao asked Xia Pingan. No problem, I already know how to use it. Xia Pingan shook his head. 1 minute passed quickly. The door of the truck opened and the 7 members of the Special Operations Division quickly left the truck and blended into the night. They each went to their respective positions. After igniting the Divine Fire Realm bead, the summoner was no longer afraid of the dark and had the ability to see in the dark. As soon as Xia Pingan got out of the truck, he dragged a bit of divine power from his sea of consciousness to the ancestral acupoint in his eyes. His eyes instantly turned cold and the dark night outside became clear in Xia Pingan's eyes. Everything in the dark could be seen in the faint red light. Xia Pingan followed Mo Yanxiao, Tu Pulu and Li Yunzhou like four black cheetahs. They passed under the green belt on the side of the road. In less than half a minute, they had traveled more than 200 meters and arrived at the corner of the courtyard of Thousand Gold Natural Resources Regeneration Company. From the outside, the courtyard was piled with scrap metal and cars. For a place like this, the wall outside the courtyard looked very casual. It was only about 2 meters tall, and the things piled up in the courtyard were taller than the wall outside. The four of them rushed to the corner of the courtyard and easily flipped over the wall. There were 2 dogs in the courtyard. The 2 dogs had just noticed the abnormality and didn't have time to bark before Li Yunzhou took out the silent tranquilizer gun he carried with him. With 2 soft pops, the 2 dogs quietly fell to the ground. Mo Yanxiao, who had rushed forward, made a hand signal to Xia Pingan. The 4 of them split up in the courtyard. Xia Pingan directly rushed toward the dormitory building where the 11 employees lived, while Mo Yanxiao, Tu Pulu, and Li Yunzhou rushed toward the other building. The 2 buildings were about 50 meters apart, on the east and west sides of the factory. But the moment Xia Pingan and Tu Pulu separated, the window of the building where Miss Zhao lived suddenly broke open with a bang. A black shadow pounced out of the window and ran outside without thinking. Although it was night, Xia Pingan still saw that the black figure was Miss Zhao, whom he had seen during the day. Miss Zhao, who had pounced out of the window, was only wearing a pair of shorts. Her eyes were flashing red, and her expression was exceptionally ferocious. "We've been exposed." This thought flashed through Xia Pingan's mind. The 4 of them actually dared to rush over and were discovered. Miss Zhao's vigilance couldn't be so high, so there was something wrong with that dog. The planned surprise attack had turned into a forceful attack in an instant. They absolutely could not let this member of the demon eye who had fused with the brain-eating insect escape. Once that person escaped, who knew how many people would suffer? Li Yunzhou aimed the tranquilizer pistol at Miss Zhao, and within a second, he fired all the tranquilizer bullets in the pistol at Miss Zhao. The tranquilizer bullets in the pistol were naturally useless against Miss Zhao, but they could delay her movements slightly. Miss Zhao's figure twisted strangely in the air and avoided most of the tranquilizer bullets. 2 tranquilizer bullets hit her body, but they seemed to be stuck by something just as they pierced her skin, and the tranquilizer bullets fell from the air. "Fire!" Mo Yanxiao shouted coldly, and a blazing flame ignited the darkness of the factory. It flew out from his side and accurately hit Miss Zhao's figure. Miss Zhao's entire body burned and turned into a torch flying in the air. "Kill!" Tu Pulu roared angrily. With a large saber in his hand, a layer of golden light flashed on the blade. He leaped up like an eagle and slashed at the burning figure flying in the air. Slurp! A sound was heard. Miss Zhao's skin and body were burning fiercely, but the skin on her stomach and crotch cracked open. A bloody monster drilled out of the burning skin like a banana squeezed out of a banana skin and landed on the ground. Tu Pulu cut the burning skin in the air into 2 pieces, and the 2 burning pieces of skin burned to ashes when they landed on the ground. The monster that landed on the ground looked a little like a human, but it did not look like a human. Its mouth was full of sharp teeth, the spine on its back protruded like a reptile, and its limbs were like the tentacles of an octopus. Red light flashed again, and Li Yunzhou and Mo Yanxiao summoned 2 slave soldiers holding spears. The slave soldiers led the charge and pounced at the bloody monster. On Xia Pingan's side, when Miss Zhao rushed out of the window of the small building, the 2 doors of the employees' dormitory were also pushed open. 11 tough men in underpants and singlets rushed out of the dormitory at once. They were all holding machetes, axes, wooden sticks and even chainsaws. The person who rushed out had bloodshot eyes and an aggressive aura. As soon as he saw Xia Pingan, his face turned ferocious like a wild beast as he rushed towards Xia Pingan. He wanted nothing more than to chop Xia Pingan into meat paste. After that, Xia Pingan summoned his soul-pacifying banner for the first time. He stretched out his right hand and a red, white, yellow, and black banner appeared in his hand. The banner was taller than a person, and there were some mysterious and obscure symbols on it. The pole supporting the banner looked like a black wooden pole. As soon as the soul-pacifying banner appeared, the movements of the 11 beast-like people who were charging towards Xia Pingan suddenly became sluggish. Their originally sinister faces were instantly replaced with expressions of fear, and the 11 of them let out beast-like screams. Xia Pingan lightly waved the soul-pacifying banner in his hand, brushing it towards the 11 people charging over. Just as they were about to reach him, spots of black light flew out from their heads and were absorbed by the soul-pacifying banner. Then, the 11 people charging over all fell straight to the ground at the same time, like straws that had been cut down. The 11 people's faces turned pale from grim and fearful. Their bodies gradually became stiff, and they stopped breathing in a split second as if they had fallen asleep and turned into corpses. Xia Pingan didn't expect the soul-pacifying banner to be so powerful. At this time, the human-shaped brain-eating monster in the distance also let out a sharp and ear-piercing shriek. That shriek was indescribably sharp and ear-piercing. Although they were dozens of meters apart, Xia Pingan felt his head buzzing as soon as he heard that shriek. He instantly felt nauseous and dizzy. Xia Pingan turned around and saw that blood-red humanoid monster covered in wounds, with one of its arms chopped off and a large hole pierced through its stomach by a spear. At this moment, it actually broke through the encirclement of the 2 slave soldiers and 2 Pulu's trio and rushed towards Xia Pingan. F***CK. What are you looking for me for? Are you taking revenge for your host bastard? Or are you trying to escape from me? Chapter 50. The Requiem banner was useless against the brain-eating insect. Seeing the monster charging at him with a frightening momentum, the Requiem banner in Xia Pingan's hand instantly disappeared. The silver Manuel MR98 instantly appeared in Xia Pingan's hand. Bang 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 bang. 4 consecutive shots were fired. The 50 Magnum silver bullets flew out from the muzzle of the gun, instantly hitting the monster 3 times in its chest and 1 in its head. Xia Pingan saw 4 blossoms of blood blossom from the monster's body. 4 bloody holes appeared on the monster's chest and head, but that was all. They weren't fatal to the monster, but the huge energy of the bullets still caused the monster's body to freeze for a moment. Be careful. Tupolu's warning came from afar. Mo Yanshao, Li Yunzhou, and the 2 slave soldiers had already rushed over. Mo Yanshao waved his hand, and another fireball flew out. The high-temperature fireball arrived in the blink of an eye. The monster turned its head, opened its mouth, and spat out a large glob of disgusting green mucus at the fireball. The mucus wrapped around the fireball and made a sizzling sound. The mucus and the fireball simultaneously turned into a black mist and dissipated. The bit of mucus that dripped onto the ground instantly condensed into a layer of white frost. The monster dodged Mo Yanshao's fireball, but it couldn't dodge Li Yunzhou's fireball. Li Yunzhou's fireball was hidden behind Mo Yanshao's fireball. This was a beautiful tactical combination. Mo Yanshao's fireball was responsible for attracting the monster's attention and wasting its reaction time, while Li Yunzhou's fireball was responsible for hitting and killing the target. The moment the first fireball dissipated, the second fireball directly hit the monster's body. The monster's entire body instantly burst into flames. But in the midst of the flames, the monster's body revealed a crack from its crotch. A pitch-black thing, covered in mucus and black carapace, about the size of a 4- or 5-year-old child, like an armadillo, drilled out from under the monster's body. It left the burning carapace behind, and under the cover of the thick black smoke, it once again charged at Xia Pingan. The burning carapace instantly turned to ashes, but the monster once again escaped. Fuck. The abilities of this man-eating insect's body were really strange. Bang bang. Xia Pingan continued to fire. The powerful pure silver bullets hit the monster's mucus-covered carapace, but they actually made two crisp sounds like they hit a steel plate. They were unable to penetrate the monster's body. Furthermore, that thing's speed was extremely fast and its body was small, making it extremely difficult to deal with. Against this monster, bullets seemed to be completely ineffective. The silver Manuel MR98 was instantly inserted back into the holster. Xia Pingan's body flew back, and at the same time, he already held the black cobra steel whip in his hand. Just when the monster was within 2 meters of Xia Pingan's steel whip lashed out. The armadillo-like monster was not the target of Xia Pingan's black cobra steel whip. The end of the steel whip suddenly wrapped around the railing of the second floor of the dormitory building 7 or 8 meters away. Xia Pingan's body suddenly jumped up, like a swing, and flew over the monster's head, avoiding the monster's bloody mouth. The monster thought that it had forced Xia Pingan to retreat, so it lowered its head and rushed into the distance, wanting to break out of the encirclement. However, as soon as Xia Pingan's body landed, the black cobra in his hand shook again, and the steel whip flew out of his hand. The whip flew in a circle like a lasso, and it immediately wrapped around the monster's waist. The armadillo-like monster was small, had thick armor, and was fast, but its strength was not Xia Pingan's opponent. Xia Pingan fiercely pulled, and the monster that wanted to fly away was fiercely pulled back by him. The monster let out a scream and used the momentum to counterattack Xia Pingan. It opened its mouth, and a strange snake-like head covered in scales stretched out from its mouth. It bit at Xia Pingan's head like a drill. At the sight of that strange snake, Xia Pingan recalled the devil's eyes eyeball in the cold storage, which had a hole in its head and had its brains sucked dry. Xia Pingan instinctively lowered his head, only to feel a fishy wind brushing past his scalp. It was a close shave. With a flip, he exerted strength in his hands. The body of the monster wrapped in the black cobra was pulled by Xia Pingan like a spinning top, and was thrown back in the direction of Tu Polu and the other two who were charging over. Seeing that Xia Pingan had stopped that monster, the 3 people who were chasing after him were greatly spirited. Tu Polu roared angrily and rushed to the front in an instant. He leaped up and the big saber in his hand created a dazzling saber light in the air. The black shell of the monster that even bullets could not break was directly cut open by the big saber in Tu Polu's hand like a hot knife through butter. That armadillo-like monster was directly split into 2 halves by Tu Polu's saber and fell to the ground. The green blood that spilled out corroded the ground with a sizzling sound. The 2 halves of the corpse on the ground were still wriggling and struggling. It was not completely dead yet. Although the strange snake-like body that the monster spat out had already been split into 2 halves, it was still wriggling on the ground. Xia Pingan walked over and felt his hair stand on end. The true holy advent is about to arrive. That strange snake-like head emitted a hoarse human voice, cackling strangely, echoing in the night. None of you can escape. The true holy advent is about to arrive. This plane will ultimately be ruled by the demon god sovereign. All of you will die and become our slaves. Kiki. The true holy advent. Mo Yanshao waved his hand expressionlessly, and a ball of flame gushed out from the ground. In the blink of an eye, the monster's body was completely burned into a pile of pitch-black ashes. Finally, this monster was killed. It stopped. The real holy arrival? The demon god dominator? Xia Pingan remained expressionless, but the monster's last words made his heart tighten. He felt that the brain-eating insect's last words had a deep meaning. A dying monster spat out information before its death. It seemed that there was no need for it to pretend. Furthermore, this monster might not have the psychological need to pretend. Brat, you did well. Tupolo grinned as he patted Xia Pingan's shoulder. Mo Yanxiao glanced at Xia Pingan. Are you okay? I'm fine. Xia Pingan glanced at his black cobra. When the steel whip coiled around the monster, it was covered in a layer of mucus. It seemed that he had to give it to Lao Zhou to disinfect when he returned. Ha ha, why don't you see who brought out the newcomer? Li Yunzhou laughed at the side and began to pretend to be a big shot again. Before coming, I told him that this brain-eating insect had many changes and told him to be careful. As expected, this member of the Demon Eyes could shed his shell twice after fusing with the brain-eating insect. The third shedding ability was almost completed. Fortunately, we killed him. If we let him complete the third shedding, who knows how many people would have been killed in the process. No one paid attention to Li Yunzhou and let him boast. In addition to pretending to be a big shot, this guy's work was quite reassuring. Xia Pingan's performance today was absolutely remarkable. First, he used the soul-pacifying banner to easily take care of the 11 brain-eating worms hosts, clearing away the outer perimeter and interference of the factory. Then, when the brain-eating worms' main bodies wanted to escape, he decisively and successfully sniped them, creating the conditions for Tupolu's final kill. As a newcomer carrying out such a dangerous mission for the first time, Mo Yanxiao and Tupolu could not find any fault with Xia Pingan. Moreover, it was Xia Pingan who had discovered and locked onto this member of the Demon Eyes. And Qing, Chao Xinghua, and Fang Lingshan finally rushed into the factory. The battle just now, from beginning to end, lasted less than half a minute. The dangers involved were unimaginable to the people outside. Seeing that everyone from the Special Operations Department had arrived, Mo Yanxiao waved his hand. Everyone, split into 2 teams. Search carefully and see if there's anything else here. This factory area occupied a large area, and there were many sundries inside. Although the member of the Demon Eyes was killed, they did not know if there was anything else hidden. Soon, everyone found something under the factory's dormitory building. There was a secret passage under the dormitory building that connected to a huge basement. In one of the basements there was a foul stench and countless maggots. In a 1,000-square-meter pit, there were 200 to 300 rotting broken limbs piled together, forming an even larger sacrificial totem of the Demon Eyes. Seeing the huge totem of the Demon Eyes, everyone in the Special Operations Department changed their expressions. The little sense of accomplishment from killing the member of the Demon Eyes disappeared without a trace. This was already the 3rd Demon Eye that had been discovered in Xianghe City recently. Moreover, this Demon Eye had existed for a longer time than the previous 2, and more people had been sacrificed to it. On the other side of the basement there were more than 10 dungeons. In each of the dungeons were 4 terrified children who had been abducted. One of the little girls was wearing a dirty red dress. She had just been abducted less than 2 days ago. After confirming that the children were fine, Xia Pingan and the others quickly covered their eyes and brought them out of the basement and immediately sent them to the hospital. Too many people had died in the sacrifice of the Demon Eye, and the brain-eating monster had said that the true holy arrival was coming. This was very important information. The Xianghe City National Committee of Order reported it to the provincial ministry as soon as possible, but in Xia Pingan's mind, the 2 sentences that the monster had said before it died kept echoing. The true holy arrival. The demon god overlord. Xia Pingan could understand that the true holy arrival should refer to a larger-scale space invasion. However, this was the first time Xia Pingan had heard the term demon god overlord. Chapter 51. The next morning, in the meeting room of the Special Operations Division of the Xianghe Committee of Order, the 7 summoners of the Special Operations Division woke up early in the morning and came here after breakfast. Although they had successfully dealt with a member of the Devil's Eye yesterday, the atmosphere in the meeting room was not relaxed this morning. Instead, it was a little solemn. When everyone returned to the base last night, it was almost 4 o'clock in the morning. Fortunately, the summoners had a secret to quickly enter deep sleep. After sleeping for a few hours, everyone appeared in the meeting room energetically this morning. The person presiding over the meeting was Mo Yenshao. Some of the information and details of yesterday's operation had to be reviewed this morning and then reported. The results of the DNA test are out. There are a total of 272 limbs of the Devil's Eye in the Big Pit under 1,000 Gold Natural Resources Regeneration Company. All of them are illegal immigrants from Mexico of the southern continent. They were deceived by the Devil's Eye to come to Xianghe City and were killed collectively. The Devil's Eye has been completed for more than 4 months. Because they were immigrants who were smuggled in, the Xianghe City Police did not receive a missing person report. We also did not discover a Devil's Eye of such a scale hidden there before. Mo Yenshao's tone was a little solemn. Due to the country of fire's developed economy, the people's standard of living was high, and the social welfare was good. It was difficult to stop illegal immigrants from the southern light continent and South America from sneaking into Great Yen. Every year, countless illegal immigrants braved all kinds of dangers and entered Great Yen through various channels. Preliminary estimates showed that there were more than 7 million illegal immigrants living in Great Yen, and there were many more every year. However, Xianghe City was not the first choice of these illegal immigrants to settle down in the past. Therefore, the local government and the police were a little lax in their investigation in this regard. After these illegal immigrants entered Great Yen, even if they died, as long as they did not die in a public place, almost no one would know. The Devil's Eye took advantage of this and set up such a terrifying sacrificial ceremony for the Devil's Eye in Xianghe City. The Devil's Eye was the coordinates and torch of a spatial invasion. During this period, 3 Devil's Eyes had been discovered in Xianghe City. Those Devil's Eyes were each more evil than the last, and each had more people sacrificed than the last. That was the most dangerous signal. Xianghe City could encounter a large-scale spatial invasion at any time. In other words, a spatial invasion that far exceeded the scale of the past was imminent. No one knew when it would erupt like a volcano. This was the reason for the heavy atmosphere in the conference room. The provincial department has already reported it to the headquarters. Because it hasn't been long, the large-scale demon eye sacrifices hidden in other cities haven't been discovered yet. But what we can be sure of is that what we found last night is definitely not the only one. There must be demon eyes similar to or larger than this hidden in other cities. The demon eyes have been planning for a long time. To be able to bring so many illegal immigrants to Xianghe City, the problem exposed by this matter is not small. The headquarters is already organizing elite forces to start with the foreign snake-headed pipelines and border control and begin investigating. Xia Pingan did not say anything. He was trying to mend the pen after the sheep were lost. But in terms of time, it was probably too late. Judging from the huge crater last night, the number of victims of the sacrificial ritual set up by the Devil Eye in Great Yen over the past few months might exceed everyone's imagination. Therefore, the upcoming space invasion would most likely exceed everyone's expectations. It was just a small operation, but there were too many things that were implicated behind it. It made people feel a little frightened. Chao Xinghua, who had been quiet all this time, said, "In that case, the situation in Xianghe City is only the tip of the iceberg in the Great Fire Country. Many cities in the Great Fire Country, including Xianghe City, might encounter an unprecedented spatial invasion in the near future. Yes, today's meeting is a mobilization meeting. The main purpose is to let everyone understand the grim situation we're going to face next and to start preparing for it." Mo Yenshao nodded. At this time, Old Long, Old Chen, and the others who are still on vacation or carrying out missions outside should be back by now, right? Tu Polu asked. Mo Yanshao continued, they received orders yesterday and will be back soon. In order to deal with the upcoming space invasion, the provincial department has decided to form the Demon Suppression Guard again this morning. Next week, everyone might receive a summons from the provincial department. Some of us will be selected to join the Demon Suppression Guard. No matter who is selected, please be prepared. Whether it's the Demon Suppression Guard or Xianghe City, they'll be able to play a role in resisting the space invasion. Xia Pingan turned his head and asked softly in a voice that only Li Yunzhou could hear, Senior, what kind of organization is the Demon Suppression Guard? The Demon Suppression Guard is a summoner's firefighting brigade organized by the provincial department. The number of Demon Suppression Guards at the provincial level can range from a few hundred to more than 1,000. When there's an emergency, like this time, the provincial department will transfer some of the elite forces from the Committee of Order and Society to form a summoner's mobile troop. This troop will be used to flexibly deal with large-scale and sudden space invasions. Li Yunzhou also turned his head and explained to Xia Pingan in a soft voice. Hearing Xia Pingan, who was already a summoner, call him senior, Li Yunzhou felt like he was floating in the air. It was very cool. Xia Pingan nodded silently. This was indeed the right thing to do. Under special circumstances, instead of letting the Committee of Order of each region act independently to deal with space invasions that could happen at any time, the provincial department might as well organize an elite force in their hands. This would ensure that they could provide support to areas with abnormal situations at any time. This was a more efficient use of their current strength. Although he had made some contributions when he returned yesterday, Xia Pingan's mood was still not relaxed. Since we have to deal with unexpected situations, will the provincial department distribute the divine power replenishing pills according to wartime standards? Fang Lingshan asked. In the past May, we've dealt with too many accidents and unexpected situations. Everyone's divine power is running low. I don't know either, but today is already the 13th. In a few days it'll be payday. Everyone will know. Mo Yanshao spread his hands and said helplessly, I know that everyone has been using up a little too much divine power recently, so from tonight onwards, we'll light up the lamps according to the order of duty. Let's use the patrolling method. 2 people will be dispatched every night and the rest can rest. The salaries of the Order Committee and the pills to replenish divine power were all given out on the full moon night of the 15th lunar month. This was a summoner's tradition. The full moon night of the 15th lunar month was the 17th of June in the Gregorian calendar. It was close to the day of receiving the salaries and pills. Xia Pingan was looking forward to the salary this time. He had spent a lot of money these days, and he was about to be busy looking for a new house. There would be a lot of expenses. With the Committee of Order's salary, even if he did not work for a full month, it would be enough to solve his urgent needs. Hearing that everyone would take turns to light up the lamps from tonight onwards, the people in the conference room heaved a sigh of relief. The Special Operations Division had dealt with the Demon Eyes member last night, and the commotion was not small. It was unlikely that there were still Demon Eyes members lurking in Xianghe City. In any case, the Special Operations Division had drawn their swords yesterday. This was a deterrent to the various forces that might still be hiding in Xianghe City. Xianghe City should be able to rest for a few days, and the people of the Special Operations Division could also rest. At this moment, Xia Pingan's phone vibrated with a buzzing sound. Everyone in the conference room stopped and looked at Xia Pingan. Because they did not know if there would be an emergency, the personnel of the Special Operations Division could bring their phones in during such meetings. The caller was Officer Qianlan, the female police officer from the Public Relations Department of the Xianghe City Police Station. Xia Pingan did not answer but hung up. What's the matter? Mo Yanxiao asked. It's nothing. It's just a little personal matter. I'll call again later. Xia Pingan put away his phone. He, a female police officer called. Li Yunzhou had sharp eyes and saw the caller on Xia Pingan's phone. Your girlfriend? Seeing that Enqing, Fang Lingshan, Tu Polu, and even Mo Yanxiao and the others were staring at his face, Xia Pingan was helpless. He did not expect a summoner to be so gossipy. Xia Pingan was a little embarrassed. Ahem, not my girlfriend. I had a dispute over renting a house. I reported it. This is the female police officer who handled the case. Hearing Xia Pingan mention the matter of renting, everyone looked at each other and felt that it was interesting. A dignified summoner, a summoner of the National Order Council, actually had trouble renting a house. This was too interesting. Chao Xinghua suddenly said, I have a villa in Xianghe City. I rarely go there. If you don't have a place to stay for the time being, you can stay at my place. I won't charge you rent. You just have to help me clean up. I think it's more comfortable to live here. Thank you, but it's okay. I still have a sister. That would be too much of a bother. This is just a small matter. I'll take care of it. I won't trouble everyone. Xia Pingan politely refused. Xia Pingan's performance yesterday had made everyone in the Special Operations Division recognize him. They completely regarded Xia Pingan as a member of the Special Operations Division. Even Chao Xinghua's attitude towards him was much better. Ahem, let's continue talking about yesterday's matter. Mo Yanxiao pulled everyone back to the topic of the meeting. Through the review, we found that there was an oversight in last night's operation. It was this oversight that caused last night's operation to almost fail from the beginning. We encountered a huge risk. I'll mention it here. I hope everyone will take it as a warning. The next time we meet, we won't make the same mistake again. The mistake in last night's operation was caused by a dog. No one had expected that the member of the Demon Eyes would actually treat a dog as his host. The main body of a brain-eating insect was a human, and using a dog as the host of a brain-eating insect had a natural flaw. It would make the main body of the brain-eating insect unable to completely control the dog's actions. But correspondingly, there was also an advantage. Once the dog as the host encountered an accident, the main body could also quickly sense it. Yesterday, Xia Pingan and the others raided the factory. As soon as Li Yunzhou took out a whisper tranquilizer pistol and shot the two dogs, the member of Demon Eyes immediately sensed it. This was where the problem lay. After reviewing yesterday's operation, the meeting ended. After everyone walked out of the meeting room, Xia Pingan took out his phone again and dialed Officer Qianlan's number. Hello, Officer Qian. It wasn't convenient for me to answer the phone just now. What's the matter? Xia Pingan asked as soon as the call was connected. The landlord's family has found a lawyer. The lawyer wants to find an opportunity to talk to you, Mr. Xia, and see if he can get your understanding. I think Mr. Xia can also communicate with the other party's lawyer first. The tactful hint in Officer Qianlan's tone was very clear. Mr. Xia, when is it convenient for you? I'll bring the lawyer to meet you and have a good chat. Xia Pingan's spirits were slightly lifted, and a smile appeared on his lips. He knew that the person who delivered the money was here. He said directly, then let's meet at 2 o'clock this afternoon in the tea room of the Guangzhou Hotel. Okay, see you in the afternoon then. As long as there were no missions, the Special Operations Division's work arrangements were very flexible. It was fine as long as they did not run out of Xianghe City. Xia Pingan happened to be able to go out in the afternoon to settle some personal matters and resolve the dispute over the house. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.